are you selling so many cars all of a sudden? Well, did you know that the Beltline has opened up the outer loop? We're only 28 minutes from Knightdale. We're only 19 minutes from Clayton and 15 minutes from Apex. We're now the most convenient Chevrolet dealership to reach in the Triangle. And the best part is, you don't have to traverse the inner city traffic. It's just one more reason to get off your keister and come to Heister.
Together, let's drive.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Hi, I'm Chuck McDowell, the timeshare cancellation guy and founder of Wesley Financial Group. And I want to set the record straight. I am not an attorney. I've never wanted to be an attorney. And the truth is, I really don't even like attorneys. If I sound like an attorney or if I look like an attorney, I'll apologize. But what I've learned in my 15 years in the timeshare cancellation business is you don't need to be an attorney to get folks out of their timeshare. At Wesley, we've helped over 40,000 families cancel their timeshare without me being an attorney. And I want to share with you how we do it. Just give my office a call, and you will not talk to an attorney. And I guarantee if we take you as a client, we'll get you out of your timeshare, or you'll pay nothing.
Call now for your free timeshare exit info kit. Call 800-948-7878. That's 800-948-7878. 800-948-7878.
Adam Gold in studio with my man Patrick Day from the Aluminum Company of North Carolina. Everything for the exterior of your home, but it's also everything for the peace of mind of the customer. Talk to me about the trust factor and everything else that you guys offer.
I got to tell you, I think one of the biggest things for us is we don't take any payment from you for any of your home improvement needs until we're done with the project. I hear stories all the time about people putting down deposits with companies, 25, 50% of the project total overall, and they don't even know, they don't show up.
Right.
You've lost whatever percentage you put down, that's how much power you lost already. Right?
Right.
So with us, you pay nothing until we're done. Typically we're not the least expensive and we're certainly not the most expensive. You get 3 or 4 estimates, we're going to fall right there in the middle. But, you're going to have a warranty that's lifetime, transferable for 10 years on any of the products we sell typically. And we've been around since 1961. You can trust us. We've been around forever.
It is about trust. And I think you guys are the most trustworthy business that I know. Aluminum Company of North Carolina, aluminumcompany.com.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score!
WCMC-FM HD1 Holly Springs.
Darnold will be in the gun. 3rd down 7 at the 38 of the Rams. The Viking quarterback has 3 receivers to the far side. And he gets the shotgun snap, and he gets a block from Ham, and he sets up. He's hit. He fumbled the ball, and it's picked up on the play. It's Jared Verse at the 50, near sideline 40. Foot race to the 30, 20, 10, 5. Touchdown! Touchdown, Rams! Darnold fumbled the ball. The Rams linebacker picked it up. 57-yard fumble return touchdown.
You're listening to The Adam Gold Show on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It is The Adam Gold Show. How are you?
The wall of sound is a function.
Yeah.
The wall of sound is a function.
It is a function.
The wall of sound is a function.
Oh, man. We just have so much audio to do today. The
Hi,
telephone
everyone.
really wants us to have the wall of sound
Well, we got plenty
right
of
now.
sound.
We do.
Especially
Especially sounds of the Vikings forgetting that they were supposed to play football last night.
I told you, right? I told you before the game. I wanted the Rams to win, right? And my inclination was, in fact, in my 6-team, incredibly inaccurate NFL playoff parlay, which went off the rails with the first game because I had the Chargers.
Right.
I actually try to remember, did I get any right? I had the Chargers. No, I got the Ravens right because that was the that was the other game on Saturday.
I just remember you saying you lost to the Chargers, so I
did.
didn't know what else you picked. Yeah.
Then I had the Bills, so I got 2-1. Trying to go through it now.
Yeah.
I had the Packers that didn't work. 2-2. Third game Sunday night was Washington. I had that wrong because I had Tampa, even though I was rooting for Washington. I thought Tampa would win. And then I had the Rams in my parlay, so I was 3-3.
Yeah.
Shows you why you should never do a 6-leg parlay.
I know.
I'm sure most people get a lot closer than I did.
Parlays are hard. I feel like I'm the queen of getting all but one, regardless of how many legs there are.
I'm the king of getting half of them wrong, maybe even more. But I wanted the Rams to win. It's not that I don't like the Vikings, and they had a great year and really were a really good team all season. But I wanted to see the Rams win for a number of reasons, but it had really nothing to do with the wildfires, but what they have gone through as a team, as a community. They had, and shouts to the Cardinals who flew 400 people in for this. Players, families, pets. Like they really did bring the entire organization pretty much from Los Angeles.
Had the field and everything ready for
that's right. It was. And the benefit was you get to play on actual grass.
Look at that. What a concept.
Yeah. I just don't understand. We can grow grass everywhere. Why aren't we playing on grass? Anyway, but they were awesome last night. Their defensive line, you could argue, won the game, but also Matthew Stafford. Just so smart, so good. We had that Tom Brady-ish moment. Was it in the second quarter? Third quarter? I mean, he's about to be sacked, and he basically just releases the ball forward like it's not really a pass, but he intentionally threw it forward to avoid a sack, but because Puka Nacua was somewhere within a couple of yards of it, it never, ever, 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 ever had any chance of reaching him. Like, it's really intentional grounding, but it's not by the letter of the law. So we went from a Vikings defensive touchdown, which they actually put on the board.
Yep. Then they took it off.
Yeah, it's forward pass, and it's not intentional grounding. And and social media was like, how is that not intentional grounding? I'm like, because Puka Nacua was kind of right there.
Yep.
It meets the rules of avoiding intentional grounding.
Puka Nacua, that's another one that, what a draft pick. What luck.
I actually thought that was a joke. I was in the beginning of last preseason when it was like people are talking about Puka Nacua. I'm like, would you stop it? What is that?
Is this a Lion King character?
Right. No, I thought it had something to do with that. What is a Puka Nacua?
Yeah. Is it like a poke bowl?
Those are good.
Smoothie? I know, right?
Those are good.
They are good.
They're really good. Now I'm hungry. Thank you very much.
It is lunchtime.
Thank you. It is. It absolutely is lunchtime. So yeah, just I don't feel bad for Minnesota. They had a great year, but there's a lot of teams that have great years. Remember the Rams started 1-4. Rams started 1-4 and finished, I think, 10-7 and won the division. So just incredible what they were able to do this year after a tough start. And they were even talking about, all right, do we trade Stafford? There was a rumor that they might trade Stafford to the Vikings. So, look, Sam Darnold had a great year. We'll get into that as well. Oh, by the way, last night at Lenovo Center, the Hurricanes alumni team took a 7-6 to NC State's club hockey team, the Ice Pack.
It's a lot of goals.
Is it?
I mean, feels like it.
Is it?
I feel like I'm watching the Western Conference with scores like that.
Right, but NC State's club hockey team, is good.
Yeah.
They're all like 20 years old.
Mm-hmm. There's that.
And I know the ages of the players who played for the Hurricanes alumni team. We will talk with Sean Hill later in the program. I'm not that surprised that the game had a lot of goals in it. I'm just
no
not surprised.
defense.
I'm just not surprised. No, I don't know that it was. Yeah, it was just hard to play defense.
Yeah.
Because, you've got 50-year-old bodies.
And fast kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, anyway, we will talk with the gentleman who scored a penalty shot goal. There was one penalty shot in the game. And actually, we will talk to him in just a few minutes. But let's get started. And we'll start with the game last night. 27-9 was the final score. And I thought the Rams, if they wanted to, probably could have scored more. I think Minnesota did play better in the second half, but that game was over before halftime. I mean, flat out over before halftime. I think it was 24-3.
Big time.
And just a series of Minnesota mistakes. The Rams capitalizing. We had the defensive touchdown on the Sam Darnold fumble. That turnover happened, I think, the possession after he was intercepted. It was not a great game for Sam Darnold, but let's first celebrate the winners. Sean McVay. Remember we said the 1-4 start? Here is Sean McVay on the growth.
Yeah, I think a lot. You go back to week 2, that seems like an eternity ago. But what I think is great is all those scars were necessary to be able to get us to the point that we are today. Even some of the tough losses being 1-4, I think there's a resilience, there's a grit, there's just, you get those, you learn from those challenging setbacks. And that's where real growth can occur if people take the right approach and you have the right kinds of people, and we certainly do. And I'm really proud of them. I'm not surprised, though, because they've been consistent, they've been steady. We're grateful for the win. And now, while we were certainly excited about being able to advance, we've got a short week and we've got a great challenge ahead of us against a team that humbled us at our place when we played them the last time.
Yeah, was that Detroit, right? No, Washington is in Detroit. They are in Philadelphia. The Rams go to Philadelphia. That's going to be a great football game because I think the Rams are really good. And look, I think Philadelphia is really good too, and they've got the home field. But I think it's a great football game. We got 2 excellent games, I think, in the NFC. With Washington, and we're going to talk to Chick Hernandez at the bottom of the hour. Washington going to Detroit, and the Rams going to Philadelphia. Let's get to Minnesota's quarterback, Sam Darnold, who we don't have to go back too many weeks to find... Is he like in the fringe MVP discussion?
Yeah.
Like there were a number of players who we put in the MVP discussion during the course of the year, and there was only 2. I mean, if anybody votes for somebody not named Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, they shouldn't vote anymore.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't mean other players didn't have great years. But my gosh, those 2 guys have set themselves apart from the entire world. But Darnold was having a great year, and they're talking about a long-term contract. The last 2 games were, I believe, cold water in the face of that. That doesn't mean that they can't happen. But they were a reality that, okay, not that this is Sam Darnold, because I don't think these 2 games are reflective accurately of who Sam Darnold is, but it was certainly a regression to the mean. And here is Darnold on these 2 weeks.
I'm not worried about that. That's in the past. Right now, I'm thinking about, like I said, what I could have done better today, and just really spending time with the guys in the locker room. That's really all I'm focused on right now. Is just because at the end of the day in the NFL, you only get one season with one team with everyone together, and today wasn't our day. And it's as simple as that. And for me, I'm just going to be focused on spending as much time as I can with those guys in the locker room. And then I'll think about, whatever the future holds after that.
I have no idea if Minnesota's going to bring him back. Remember, they have J.J. McCarthy, who they drafted in the first round a year ago, quarterback out of Michigan, that they have high hopes for. It'd be hard to see Sam Darnold getting a major contract with... to me, that Darnold deal, if they do something with him, it can't be for $50+ million, and the guaranteed money really needs to be like maybe 2 years, but it's probably so. I don't see that working out unless their opinion of Darnold is so high, and they're not entirely sure that McCarthy is going to be their guy. I just don't know how that's going to work out. Real quick, a couple of other things before we move on. Adam Schefter floated the notion that Deion Sanders might be the next head coach of the Dallas Cowboys.
I spoke to Deion last night, and he said to me that he was not intending to go to the NFL, not that he will go to the NFL. That's not what he was thinking. But that the love and respect he has for Jerry Jones is so great that if Jerry Jones calls him, he's always going to listen. Jerry checked in with Deion yesterday, and they'll continue talking. But I said to Deion last night, so what's next? And he said, I don't know. So I think everything's really up in the air. Maybe that means talks intensify. Maybe it means they don't. I don't think he knows right now. And by the way, I think that's probably also true for the Dallas Cowboys.
That would be something, wouldn't it? Deion Sanders as the head coach of the Dallas Cowboys? That would be something. I actually don't even know how I feel about it just yet. But it would be box office. I know that. So would Deion, and I think he would actually, except that Jerry Jones is front-facing, and he and his team, if you will, are in charge of player personnel. Deion would have some input, but he wouldn't certainly, not like it would be at University of Colorado. So that would be awesome. And the other thing is, would Jerry, this is an interesting dynamic, right? Because the whole reason Jerry and Jimmy parted ways was because Jimmy was getting all the credit. And Jerry wanted to be known as, hey, I can do this. And I'm not saying Jimmy was perfect. I'm sure Jimmy wasn't easy to work with. But Deion would get a lot of the credit there. So that would be fascinating. Real quick, while we have time, Troy Aikman says that he's not even sure the Dallas Cowboys job is any good anymore.
As far as a coveted job, I don't know that that's accurate. I mean, really? I do think the Cowboys are obviously a high-profile team. Whoever is covered or whoever is head coach of that team is certainly going to draw a lot of attention. But I think most football people that take over as a head coach, they want to do it on their terms.
That's fair.
That's hard to do. And it's, if you take a Dan Campbell, for instance, is Dan Campbell if he's with the Dallas Cowboys? It's hard to imagine that he is. It's hard to imagine that a lot of these coaches might be.
Interesting from a legend of the Dallas Cowboys, somebody who only played really with Jerry Jones as the owner and the guy, I guess, in charge of player personnel. But I don't know that he's right. I think Dallas is, first of all, if you ranked the jobs of head coach in the NFL, I don't know if the Cowboys is number one, but it's pretty close to number one. I'm not sure that, I don't even know if you could say that there is a definitive number one. I think all things being equal, I don't know, maybe the Steelers' head coaching job is number one. Or to a certain extent, the Giants. It's going to be a legacy franchise that is going to be the number one job in the sport. Green Bay in some ways, but it's kind of also a little bit weird because it's community owned. There's no big oil or Flying J magnate that owns the Green Bay Packers, but the whole thing is kind of interesting to me that Troy Aikman would say it's not a high-profile gig anymore. It definitely is. They've got the resources in place to basically do whatever you want, even within the framework of a salary cap. I think it is. I think it's of the jobs available. And I said this yesterday. I actually think it's the best of the jobs available as long as you can coexist with Jerry Jones. All right, let me get to something that happened last night at Lenovo Center. The NC State Ice Pack, in a friendly defeated the Carolina Hurricanes Alumni Association group by a 7-6 score. I believe the goal that made it 6-6 was a penalty shot. Daniel Prazma, he scored it. He has 24 goals in 24 games of the season for their season. This one, I'm going to guess, Daniel, was different and maybe more memorable than any you have ever scored. Is that correct?
Yeah, I would probably say that scoring against guys like Eric Stahl, Rod Brindamore, Tim Gleason might top my goals of all time for sure.
All right, so let me ask you this question, and I know you have local ties to former Hurricane Steve Rice. So we're going to get into that dynamic in a second. You're going to have to walk me through this because I'm kind of flying seat of my pants with some of this stuff here. You scored on a penalty shot, correct?
Yeah, penalty shot.
All right, now explain the penalty and who committed it that led to your penalty shot. There were no power plays in the game last night. If there was a penalty committed, you simply got a penalty shot. So explain to me the circumstances surrounding the penalty.
Yeah, so it was a 5-6 game. I think there was 50 seconds left, and we kind of pulled our goalie as a joke, sort of to be like, make it a little more competitive or whatnot. So I got on the ice, and immediately I kind of got the puck and winded up around my neck, started skating down the ice. And when I got there was Eric Stahl, Tim Gleason, Rod Brindamore, that I was right in front of me. And I kind of tried juking around Eric Stahl, and that didn't go too well, and I got tripped up. And they called the penalty, which I was kind of surprised about. But so it was a penalty shot with 40 seconds left to tie up the game, which is pretty sweet.
Describe your move to me.
He was literally standing directly in front of me at the blue line, so I try to hedge right and then go left around him, and his stick got caught completely between my legs, and I flew in the air, did a 360 somehow, and ate crap pretty much.
All right, now give me your plan and how you executed it in the penalty shot.
Yeah, I wanted to make sure I didn't do anything too crazy and, embarrass myself in front of a decent crowd. So yeah. I kind of just wanted to go simple, go slow, then pick up speed and just rip the puck as hard as I could. And that's pretty much the game plan there. I just took it wide, came in slow, and then sped up a little bit to get around the goalie, and then just ripped it pretty much as hard as I could.
So during the course of the game, who did you find yourself playing against? Obviously, you were you going up against the current head coach at some point in the extra attacker situation, Eric Stahl, Tim Gleason. Who did you find yourself playing against for much of the night? And also, I know you're a local guy. These are guys you watched as a kid. So how was that like?
Yeah, I think it kind of set in. It set in really with the first face-off when I skated in and I saw Eric Stahl sitting right in front of me. This is these guys. That's the reason I got into hockey. I remember I went to a Canes game when I was 3 years old, watched those guys play, and that was why I started playing hockey. They were the legit reason I got into the sport. So it was a pretty full circle moment for me. But I think one of the guys I kept finding myself going against was Mike Commodore, and I don't know if you know, but I think he's 6'5" and 240 pounds, and I just, kept running into him, which was not the game plan for me, but it was funny.
All right, now Steve Rice, former Hurricane, who also scored a goal last night. Commodore had a goal. Gleason had a couple of assists last night, but Steve Rice scored a goal. So you played for Steve Rice where?
I played for Steve Rice, I think 2 years at AAA Hurricanes when I was 14 and 15. I'm good buddies with his son, so he was our coach. I'm around Steve all the time, so he's always around the rink. I always bump into him in places, and I think it's a great connection to have. He's an awesome guy. I think he's the head of the Alumni Association too. So it was a pretty cool event. I got to skating against him on Lenovo Ice was pretty sweet too. But yeah, he's been a close friend of my family for a while, so it's definitely awesome.
All right, let me just a couple of more things. The handshake line at the end. What do you remember from that?
I remember. I mean, I was curious if like some of them were going to be pissed off because we did end up winning, but they were. I mean, it was all smiles in both parts. You know, I mean, it's just funny. You're seeing like it's almost like you're in like a video game and you're just seeing like these legends kind of go past you and you're shaking their hand saying good game, but it was real life, which it was pretty sweet. I mean, it was Eric Stahl, Brenda Moore, Gleason, LaRose, Commodore, all those guys, Justin Williams. Just I mean, it's. Not many words can describe what was the kind of feeling in the moment.
All right, so now walk me through the lead up to it. You I don't know when it was you guys found out you would be playing in this game, and as somebody who was brought to the sport because of these guys, what was it like? Were you nervous leading into it? Just walk me through where your emotions were taking you throughout this ride.
Yeah, I mean, when I think we found out the game was announced right around New Year's time, and at first I knew it was Eric Stahl's retirement weekend, so I was like, this is going to be a pretty big event. Also, I knew Eric Stahl would be there, so that was a pretty special thing. But I was honestly curious of like how it would turn out, fans wise, the game. I was curious, how it was really going to go, if it was going to be competitive or not, or whatever, and all that. But it was definitely an exciting feeling. Nervous for sure. I mean, none of it really sat, like the fact that I was playing against those guys didn't really sit in until I was, halfway through the game and then, going on every shift playing against Rod Brendamore or someone like that. So it was a pretty surreal feeling. Like it still hasn't set in yet really that just happened, but it was a surreal feeling all around. Definitely a lot of nerves.
I bet. So, I mean, is everything else a letdown after this?
I was thinking about that and talking with the guys. I don't know. I hope not, but that might be the peak of my hockey memories, to be honest.
I mean, it's amazing. Daniel Prazma from the NC State Ice Pack club hockey team in the American Collegiate Hockey Association. By the way, you can get all the information for them at icepackhockey.com. I appreciate your time. Congratulations on the goal and for making arguably your childhood hero, commit the penalty that put you in that situation. Daniel, thank you so much. Best to you during the season, and we'll talk to you again.
Yeah, thank you very much. Have a good one.
You too. Daniel Prazma here on the Adam Gold Show. Amazing. Local kid. Boom. Can't even fathom how all of that, how do you live that dream?
I felt it when he said, I didn't want to embarrass myself in front of them. Like, no pressure, but dudes you've been watching your whole life.
Penalty shot. We watched in a shootout a couple of weeks ago. Jackson Blake and Seth Jarvis both lose control of the puck. Right? You could do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, when we come back, the best story in the National Football League this year has been the transformation of the franchise in Washington. I will call them the Commanders with Chick Hernandez next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's 2025 and everybody's looking for a fresh start with their resolutions. Every team, player, coach, they've got something on a wish list. The Canes, I think they could use a little bit more toughness. The Panthers, clarity on Bryce Young. Is he the guy? Is he not? And every college basketball team wants to be hitting their stride as they hit the ACC schedule.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Tired of hearing this from your local tire place?
Sorry, we can't fix it. Take it to Dauntless.
This year, skip the middleman and take your car straight to Dauntless Transmissions if you want quality work done right the first time. Transmissions, engine, or brake work, or just a regular tune-up. If it's broke, Dauntless will fix it. For quality work done with the kind of experience that works for you, take it to Dauntless Transmissions first. Go to DauntlessTransmissions.com to book your visit today. Dauntless Transmissions, your local source for exceptional service.
Pinecone is proud to present its 2025 Down Home Concert Series in downtown Raleigh.
We got a long way to go and a short time to get there. I'm eastbound just to watch old bandit run.
The series kicks off on Friday, January 17th with a show from the Pole Ramblin' Boys, a high-energy blend of traditional bluegrass and original songwriting. Come see why the Pole Ramblin' Boys have been nominated for a Grammy and the International Bluegrass Music Association's Entertainer of the Year Award. Friday, January 17th at the Martin Marietta Center for the Performing Arts in downtown Raleigh.
Go on now and say goodbye to our town.
And there's much more to come with Pinecone's Down Home Concert Series. There's still time to get great seats for shows from Iris DeMent, The Steel Wheels, Beau Soleil, Tim O'Brien, Willie Watson, Scythian, and more. Learn more at pinecone.org. Pinecone, the Piedmont Council for Traditional Music, where roots music matters.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling. We do the job right every time.
Mitchell Heating and Cooling is celebrating 51 years of trusted service. And to celebrate, get a furnace tune-up for just $51. That's peace of mind heating for only $51. Visit MitchellHVAC.com. Mitchell Heating and Cooling. Quality products and services on time from a family you trust. It's hard to stop a train.
The best solutions every time.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and it's finally here. The NFL season's too long, but oh boy, the playoffs are the payoff, aren't they? And they start on Saturday. So, new customers, $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Your first $5 wager, you don't even have to win it. You can go nuts with that. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed for you. Just go to FanDuel.com/AdamGold to join today. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. FanDuel.com/AdamGold. You were waiting for the playoffs anyway. FanDuel is an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
See if you're a winner every night. Watch live lottery drawings on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. That's right, Carolina Pick 3, Carolina Pick 4, and Carolina Cash 5 numbers every night on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news. See if you're a winner before you go off to bed. Get your lottery numbers live every night.
North Carolina Education Lottery.
Only on WRAL-TV's 11 o'clock news.
Oh, could this vintage store be any cuter? Right? And the best part? They accept Discover. Accept Discover? In a little place like this? I don't think so, Jennifer.
Oh, yeah, huh? Discover's accepted where I like to shop. Come on, baby, get with the times.
Right, so we shouldn't get the parachute pants?
These are making a comeback. I think.
Discover is accepted at 99% of places that take credit cards nationwide. Based on the February 2024 Nielsen report.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
The legend returns. I have no idea what I mean by that other than Chick Hernandez, WUSA TV in Washington, D.C., back from Tampa with the Commanders having beaten the Buccaneers on the road. I joked yesterday, Chick, that apparently every 20 years, like clockwork, work. It's clockwork, not Clockworth, although who knows.
Yeah.
Washington goes to Tampa and wins a playoff game.
Here's the deal. I'm going to guarantee you that it won't be another 20 years until a playoff game. I'm going to make that guarantee. You can book it. Absolutely going to happen again within 20 years. And to be here for it, I'm going to tell you right now, after covering this team for the better part of 3 decades, is just an absolute freak show. Just unbelievable. And been a great ride so far. I'm not I'm a member of the media, no cheering in the press box, but
Right.
I do root for the guys individually, and I want the team to do well, because if the team's doing well, then I'm talking to Adam Gold postseason, and this
Yes.
is what we're doing. It's been spectacular, and to watch I can't even call him a rookie, because he's really not.
No.
He's just not.
All right, so here's what I want to do.
Yeah.
Here's what I want to do. I want you, because you and I have known each other for well over 10 years. I'll just leave it at that. We remember. I'm a New Yorker. I went to Maryland. I was a Ferner. You are a born and raised in the district area. You grew up with this football franchise. It is remarkable, and I know the reasons for it, but I want you to walk us through how you go from a franchise that seemed dead to the one, maybe the most lovable franchise, to, in soccer they call it neutral fans, to people who are just football fans. This franchise has become lovable, and it's been a year and a half since it's happened, 2 years tops since it's happened. Walk me through how we have gotten to this part with the Commanders.
Well, they danced with the devil, Dan Snyder, for the better part of 2 decades.
Yeah.
This is a guy who professed to be a longtime R-word fan, Redskins fan, and, he was born and bred in it, and nothing he did ever looked like he meant what he said. Not the nicest human. That's me being kind and not being in a lawsuit. And, at one point he said he had, receipts on other owners when things are going downhill. So come on. So you went from Dan Snyder to the Josh Harris group. Josh Harris, Mark Hine, Mitch Rales, all just like Snyder, grew up in the area.
Yeah.
Lived through RFK and the rocking stadium and all that as kids. And they're just, as I say, adults are running the building now. Simple as that. When I walked in the last 2 decades, I'd get looked up and down, and it would be, "Can I help you?" Or no, more like, "What do you need?" With the look like, "Why are you here?" Now when I walk in, it's, "Hey, chick, what do you need? What can I help you with?" And it's adults who run the building, from the ownership group to making the decision to bring in Adam Peters, who was one of the most highly sought after executives. Dan Quinn. This is a great week, right? Dan Quinn versus Ben Johnson for the Lions. Ben Johnson, everybody thought had the job, and then I guess the story goes he didn't like the fact that one of Josh Harris's executives or consultants was a basketball guy,
right?
Because he owns the Sixers, and Ben Johnson didn't like that. Okay, well, great. Well, have fun in Detroit, and you're in the playoffs. Congratulations. You're not a head coach. Dan Quinn came in and has built this culture up. In fact, I'm going today to practice to do the story, and one of the cruxes of my story is that Sam Cosmi, the right guard, said in the locker room the other night, because I know it sounds trite, but we never felt like we're out of games, and the reason is brotherhood. And he goes, I know that sounds really like a cliche, but when you are playing not for yourself, but for someone else, it's that importance is just different, and you forget everything else. You try to do what's right for everyone, and that's what Dan Quinn has built, and that's why this team is lovable. You don't have, guys with stupid penalties for showboating and all that jazz, right? It's just that they want to hang around and be there in the fourth quarter because the 24-year-old first-year quarterback has ice in his veins, and the only time we've ever seen emotion from Jaden Daniels is when Marcus Mariota threw a late touchdown pass against Dallas. That's the only emotion we have seen, other than maybe the Hail Mary when he shook the Bears bench after the game, which is, that was a crazy ending. But it's completely a 180 turn, and that's why they're lovable, and that's why I give them a shot against a very, very potent Detroit team.
Oh yeah, potent doesn't even start with that group. Have you guys heard? Because I think we have heard a lot of comparisons from Dan Quinn to Dan Campbell, even though I think that Campbell is, he's different. I don't think there is anybody quite like Dan Campbell in how he approaches. I'm not talking about the strategy of coaching because I don't think anybody has reinvented the wheel here. Although there is a similarity between the two in terms of aggressiveness on fourth down, which we'll get to. To me, Dan Quinn carries himself like, look, I've done this, probably should have never gotten fired with Atlanta. I've done this, and there are certain things I needed to refine, but he seems so comfortable with being Dan Quinn. Like, he's not trying to impress anybody. What is it like to have been covering him?
Well, I'm fortunate, and we have a partnership with the team, so I sit down with him every Monday. I just did one yesterday. And, at the beginning of the season when we announced this deal, Coach was in Hawaii. We did a Zoom to announce the deal. He was in Hawaii. I was not, thankfully. Thanks a lot, Coach. And I said to him off the top, on air, I said, look, I'm the type of guy, Coach, if you suck, you suck. If you're good, you're good. He goes, bring it on. Love it. He goes, it's Tell the Truth Monday. Because I'm about that. We're not going to sugarcoat anything. If we're bad, I have no issue with you saying we're bad. And if we're good, perfect. So we've done this now 17, 18 weeks, and the conversations have progressed to the point where his wife, Stacy, looked me up a couple of games ago and said, hey, I just want to tell you something. We've never met her. I've never met her. We were at before a game, I think in Dallas, and she's like, hey, I'm Stacy Quinn, and I got to tell you, my husband loves doing the Mondays with you because he feels like you're going to tell the truth, but you're going to make it entertaining. And she said you're bringing something out of him that you normally wouldn't let out because he's a head coach. What he did when he left Atlanta was to ask former coaches and players, what is it I need to do to be better? And it's in a journal, all of that. He took notes about everything so that if he got a second opportunity, that he would be ready, and he is ready. The difference between Dan Campbell and Dan Quinn for me is I can see Dan Campbell's jugular vein, right? It's poking out. He's screaming and yelling. Dan Quinn, only time he yells really is after a win on the sideline for a second and in the locker room with his guys. Once he meets us, it's a very introspective guy. So there's the difference for me. Two very good coaches who connect. I'm using air quotes here, the players coach. They're both player coaches. And I think even before the first game, the talk about Dan Quinn was every former player said, no, they're going to love playing for him. And that's what's going on here is they're playing for each other and playing for a guy who is just, he's made the right call every turn. Cliff Kingsbury, former head coach, the OC, could have come in with an attitude. Cliff's like, I'm learning stuff from him. Mm-hmm. And he's also working with a subject that, in Jaden Daniels, Cliff can do anything he wants with this offense.
Yeah.
And oftentimes does. We saw a two-quarterback set last game. When Marcus Mariota walked out there, we saw Jaden go in motion. We were like, wait a minute, what's going on here? So it's great. It's all roses. And even after losses, he's been straightforward about, what it was. He knew exactly what it was and didn't mince words about it. And that's what you want. We have been lied to by coaches in this market before.
Sure.
Mike Shanahan, the day he left, admitted he didn't tell us the truth often, as if we didn't know that, right?
Right.
And Ron Rivera, you could tell he didn't believe half the stuff he was saying to us. And that's unfortunate.
Yeah, it is unfortunate, but I think in the case of Ron Rivera, he was probably covering up for a lot of things that head coaches, unfortunately, at times have to cover up. I always thought Ron was a very solid human being, put in a very difficult position because so I want to ask you one more thing, and we can go any number of ways from this. It would be easy to look at this season, the entire season, really. Because there's probably been an early arrival here. Jaden Daniels is has been better than anybody could have rightfully expected this entire year. He's easily one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the entire league already.
No question.
Is this house money? Or, how do you avoid looking at it as house money? Because there's jobs to do still.
It's house money. It's house money. I've been top executives on the field the other night were excited and fist bumping and stuff, and the handshake and lean in. I'm being told we're working with house money now. The exact quote. So there's no above the water level right now as far as what they thought they would accomplish, and you could not predict what Jaden was going to be. I asked Coach Quinn about it the other day. I was like, you met him. I was there with you at LSU's Pro Day. I know that you interviewed him several times. You knew his physical talent, and you might have an idea of his mental talent, but could you have predicted this? And he said, no, but we got a quick flash when he was working, at 5:30 in the morning in the bubble every day and on off days. And he said, Coach Quinn, about Jaden Daniels, I admire him. And that was telling to me. I admire him. It was not none of this, hey, he's a great work ethic, blah, blah, blah. He said, I admire him. And that's different talk than a coach gives a lot of players. It's just he's a different cat. Yes, he's slight. A great analogy about his running style, and I forgot who said it, was he's like a slalom skier.
Oh, wow.
We haven't even seen him open up yet. We really haven't. And he maneuvers his way through traffic like a slalom skier. He's just his eyes are really good. He's taken a few hits for sure, and I think those are times when he knows that I have to get that yard. But he's a slalom skier. He gets through guys, and the pressure that Todd Bowles put on, we all said it could be ugly if the offensive line doesn't hold up, or if he's got a half a second more, he's going to make some plays, and that's what he did. He found Austin Eckler. He found, and by the way, Terry McLaurin is having a career year.
Yep.
I don't think I'm trying to, the comparisons to who as far as contested catches. I don't know. My brain's not working, but when the ball's in the air and he did not have a chance to catch the ball, he's doing it, and you're like, that's insane, right? So It's been a blast, and house money, yes. If they lose, will it be disappointing? Absolutely, because they know that they are just as good as any other squad of the final 8. And the road wins, all of it is taking place. I mean, you think about this for a second. Jaden Daniels, 0 punts, 0 turnovers in a playoff game. He's also done it 2 other times this year. And there's only one, Peyton Manning, who's ever done that many times.
Wow.
It's crazy. It's absolutely crazy.
By the way, you brought up Terry McLaurin. I had written down, I probably am from afar, and I've never met Terry McLaurin, happier for him because you could tell he is just a world-class human, and he has gone through all the stuff we talked about at the beginning, and now he has been rewarded with this regime and this quarterback and this situation. It is tremendous. Good for him. And I will now forever consider Jaden Daniels to be the Ingemar Stenmark of the NFL.
Oh,
yeah!
Wow,
great slot.
I was gonna go Franz Clommer, but yes, okay.
Clommer was a downhiller. Clommer was a downhiller. Stenmark is the greatest slalom racer of all time.
Yeah, but see the speed of Clommer and able to navigate gates. But don't forget the great Frank Gifford call in the Olympics back in the day.
Sure. He and Bob Beatty, man, I will never forget that.
Right, when he almost fell, and he goes, "Oh, Clommer, no, he's up," and he gets the gold. Come on, man. Come on.
Innsbruck, Austria, man. That was when I fell in love with downhill skiing. Very not that long later, I fell in love with a young chick, Hernandez, in a very platonic way. But yes. I have deep feelings for you, sir. I could not be more thrilled that you get a chance to go on this ride with the team that you grew up with. I appreciate your time always. Enjoy it, and we'll talk to you Super Bowl week.
I'd be happy to. Happy to. I said this in the press box, and it still holds true because it makes me laugh every time. I said, "Boy, we sure do miss Sam Howell." No, we don't.
Oh, man. That hurts.
Yeah,
that hurts here.
I understand it. But that's you're talking. I'm sorry, I'm going to take you longer here, but
I'm with
Terry McLaurin never ever was the way what I just said that would never be what he would say. He was behind Sam Howell 100%. And to speak to why you're happy about McLaurin, if anybody wants to Google the pregame speech he gave last week, it's a different McLaurin than we've ever seen. I've never seen Terry McLaurin curse, but he is about as foul-mouthed as it comes because that's with his guys. But with us, he is as professional as it comes, and he deserves what he is reaping right now. He's got a guy who can throw a masterpiece, and he wants to be a part of that painting. And right now, it is spectacular. Whatever happens on Saturday Night Live happens. They are really set up for the future because Adam Peters is still making moves and will make some better moves come next year. I mean, the free agent acquisitions, the Luvu, Bobby Wagner, Zach Ertz, all spot on, and I don't think they're going to slow down.
Yeah, we're all team Frankie Luvu down here anyway. You are the man, Chick Hernandez. I appreciate your time. I will talk to you soon.
Okay, Goldie. See ya.
The best, the absolute best. When we come back, one-timers, and remember yesterday there was that report on ProFootballTalk.com about Bill Belichick and uneasiness. We have a response from North Carolina. Next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's that time of year when we gear up to cheer on our favorite team. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on the team you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They are safe and effective. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains spreading this fall and winter. So make sure you don't miss the big game and you protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and it's finally here. The NFL season's too long, but oh boy, the playoffs are the payoff, aren't they? And they start on Saturday. So, new customers, $5 bet gets you $200 in bonus bets, guaranteed. Your first $5 wager, you don't even have to win it. You can go nuts with that. $200 in bonus bets guaranteed for you. Just go to FanDuel.com/AGS today. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. And get started with $200 in bonus bets. FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonuses issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets, which expire 7 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
I'm Faith. I work as an American Sign Language interpreter, and I just graduated from my bachelor's program. I texted 988 because at the moment where I needed help, I realized that I didn't have access to English at the moment. Sometimes speaking gets hard for me, and they just helped me calm down, and then I was able to find a friend. It's free, and you can get in touch with people who are trained to help through all sorts of crises.
Call, text, or chat 988 24/7.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people aged 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
This is Adam Gold.
When the U.S. Space Force plays Air Force in the Military Bowl, then I will recognize the
It'll be out of this world.
The anthem.
Sorry, I had to.
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I'm Adam Gold. Victoria's on the ones and twos. Before we get to one-timers very quickly, remember yesterday, the ProFootballTalk.com, reputable aggregator of football news, reported that there are many around North Carolina that are uneasy because the Bill Belichick coaching staff has been slow to be formed, blah, 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 blah. Michael Lombardi, who was hired initially as the university's football GM, responded to that, quote, tweeted the story, the post on Twitter, and said, "We are not slow, just being diligent. Hired 3 people on Sunday. Not one is nervous other than this erroneous report. A completely fabricated story, comma, thank you."
Okay.
I am not saying that I have no idea. No clue. Hopefully, it will end the way we hope it will end here on this program, and that's with Bill Belichick being the coach at North Carolina, not only for this season, but for seasons to come, because that would be awesome. One-timers.
Okay, so last night's game.
Yeah.
Little surprising. At least it was for me. I thought it would have been a little more competitive than it was. But in your opinion, was that more, the outcome, was that more on the Rams being dominant in the game or the Vikings underestimating the Rams?
It's not. The outcome of games, it's always very difficult to predict, but one thing can really flip the game. I thought the Rams ended the game on the Sam Darnold fumble, sack, strip, fumble, touchdown by Jared Verse. I thought the game was over at that point, and then that touchdown right at the end of the half was just the final. There was no reason to watch the second half. I mean, I watched the second half, sort of. I was there. It was on. I was doing other things. But those 2 plays ended the game. It's otherwise a competitive game, but one play can certainly tip it.
Is there an underdog left that you think could still mess up some team's Super Bowl hopes?
All depends on whether or not first of all, I think Houston could bother Kansas City. I think the Chiefs have played too many close games for that not to be something that is in play for the Texans. And Washington will bother Detroit, but I think Detroit's too good. But it also depends how much do you count Baltimore, who was a very slight underdog, as an underdog, because I don't. I think they're the favorites.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Homeowners, it's time to start fresh in 2025. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto is here to help you take control of your finances in 2025 by lowering your house payment and consolidating that nagging debt. Did you know that 9 out of 10 borrowers get a better deal by calling Loan Pronto? Right now, Loan Pronto has some of the most competitive offers for refis, debt consolidation, and purchase loans, starting in the low 5s APR. If your current rate is over 6%, don't settle for paying too much. Even if you're in process with another lender, call Loan Pronto. Lock in a lower rate today and close in as little as 2 weeks, often with no appraisal. You can even skip your next 2 house payments. It's fast, easy, and hassle-free. Get your personalized Loan Pronto rate quote instantly with no hard credit pull and no upfront fees. Call 919-381-1760 or loanpronto.com. 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
The Pack Therapy Podcast is in session thanks to First Horizon Bank. Tim Donnelly here, host of The Drive, alongside Wolfpack legend Casey Morcell.
Every episode is your chance to score inside information on the Pack.
We'll set you up for Wolfpack games all season long.
And we break down the ACC competition, what to watch for as we roll towards the tournament madness.
Plus special guests to keep Wolfpack hope alive.
Follow and subscribe to Pack Therapy wherever you discover your favorite podcast or watch on YouTube.
You know what makes every diamond unique and special are its 4 C's. Its cut, clarity, color, and carat weight. But do you know what makes Diamonds Direct special and unique? It's our own 4 C's. The first C, concept. Diamonds Direct has revolutionized jewelry shopping by eliminating middleman markups and giving you direct access to the world's finest diamonds straight from the diamond cutters. The second C, choice. Diamonds Direct's multi-million-dollar selection of precious diamonds is unparalleled. And with over 4,000 designer settings to choose from, you are empowered to make a decision that works for your style and taste. Third C, confidence. With a nationwide price guarantee, a free lifetime warranty, our unique 110% diamond upgrade policy, and our no pressure, no risk environment, you have total peace of mind. And the fourth C, community. Every year we partner with local charities and nonprofits with significant donations of time, money, and jewelry to make this a better place for everyone. Diamonds Direct, official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics, and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct, your love, our passion.
Prescriptions require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. Restrictions apply. See website for details and important safety information. Price varies based on product and subscription plan.
Did you know that 1 in 4 people seeking treatment for ED are under 40? HIMS can help. Get started at hims.com/joy. Through hims.com, you can access a full range of treatment options for ED, including daily or as-needed meds through a 100% online process. To start your free online visit and save up to 95%, go to hims.com/joy.
It's 2025, and it's time to get your home zero-resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms zero-resified starting at just $109 and take $100 off your air duct cleaning as well. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Lowe's knows how to help make your Super Bowl 59 party a touchdown. Let us help you prep your home to host with top brands like Charbroil, Blackstone, and LG, so you can be the MVP of game day. Plus, use the Lowe's app to find what you need for a seamless shopping run. Or huddle up with our Lowe's Red Vest associates to help make all your game time hosting decisions.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, Injury Lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
Well, I thought Mike McCarthy would be the head coach, so this is a bit of a surprise for me today that he's not going to be. And what went into those conversations, what Schefter said as far as Kellen Moore being a candidate, that seems logical to me. A guy who has familiarity with the building. He's worked obviously with the Cowboys and with Jerry Jones, and they know each other very well. In fact, when Mike McCarthy got the job, it was told to Mike that Kellen Moore would be the offensive coordinator. So that's how much the Jones family thinks of him.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria producing the program. Actually just read a Dan Graziano piece on ESPN that gives his predictions for the 6 available job openings. And Graziano says it'll be Kellen Moore in Dallas. He said it'll be Brian Flores, who is Minnesota's defensive coordinator in Chicago. That Ben Johnson would ultimately be named the head coach in Las Vegas for the Raiders. And he had Arthur Smith, the Steelers offensive coordinator, as the Jets head coach, Aaron Glenn, who is as good a coaching candidate as there is available, who played for a short time with the Saints. He has going to New Orleans to be that team's head coach. I mean, I could see it. I think Aaron Glenn's going to be dynamite. If I were the Jets, he would be my target. And if I were Aaron Glenn, I would not go there.
I know. That's why I'm so fascinated.
I would not go there.
I want to see who actually ends up going to these places.
Why isn't Rex Ryan the guy? He said he's the best candidate for it. Good for Rex. Yeah. Never change, my man. Never, ever change. We are going to talk a little bit about UNC football and basketball coming up in about 15 minutes with Adam Smith of Inside Carolina. So just real quick, because yesterday Bill Belichick was on McAfee in his normal Monday spot wearing a UNC, was like a jacket.
Yes, either in his train car or a lab somewhere.
It really did. It looked like the area where you would go at the end of a train coach.
Mm-hmm.
Where, like, I take the train to Charlotte for Operation Football in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
We coach down, and then we coach. It's great.
Yeah.
You get work done, or you can nap, whatever. You can't nap when you drive. It's hard to.
It's
I mean,
not
it's
recommended.
possible, but it's difficult and dangerous. But when you are about to go through one car to the next, that's what it looked like. That's where it looked like he was.
I know. Or a lab where there's toxic chemicals and you need a shower.
And the jacket was a little bit shiny. It looked like it could have been a hazmat suit.
Yeah.
Although a Navy one. And he was also on in the Manning cast last night, again, wearing a UNC shirt. So, look, he's going to do that anyway, more than likely. I get all the speculation because there are 6 jobs available, including one in which his former quarterback is making the hire, and the Dallas Cowboys, which he has been mentioned in conjunction with, not to mention some others that have some level of attraction. And what we knew from reports going into the hiring process at UNC, he apparently, after ripping them, reached out to the Jets to see if they would be interested in him.
Not wise.
Well, I mean, what if he wants to coach? If he wanted to coach in the NFL, fine.
Yeah, I just wouldn't recommend ripping people before you ask for a job from them.
Well, who hasn't ripped the Jets?
Yeah,
and they deserve it. They should know it. You should have a better sense of self than that. You be self-awareness. But I get why people assume that he's, that he'll never coach at UNC, that buyout, June 1. June 1 doesn't matter. $10 million to the people who own NFL teams, it's nothing. Jerry Jones could spend $10 million every day. Wouldn't matter. He's worth billions. He's worth thousands of millions.
Wonder what that's like.
Crazy, right?
Ooh.
Can't even. I can't relate to. I mean, heck, we'll just leave it at that.
Never have to worry about should I get the guac? Should I get that? Put extra. Give it to the people behind me too.
$1.95 upcharge for bacon? Really? Come on.
Do I
it's
need
just
it?
bacon. It's 2 strips.
Pepper jack instead of cheddar.
Yeah. So but I understand why people are skeptical of it. And Mike Lombardi came out today on Twitter and said, no, we're being diligent. We're not being slow on the hire. I think, I don't know if it's going to work or not. I just don't see how Belichick would not coach at least a year. I just don't see how you can do that now based on where you are in this process. Not to mention the damage it would do to the university, to this whole process of reimagining how they attack football. It would be incredibly damaging to the school. And it would take a pretty cold and calculated individual to set all this up and then go, see ya.
Never mind.
And it will never be about making sure that Steve is the next coach, his son. And maybe he will be. But again, that was not in Bill Belichick's contract, at least what we read publicly. So we're going to talk about that with Adam Smith, and we'll talk about the basketball team, which has now won, 3 straight? And I think they could win as many as 7 in a row before they head to Pitt. The game at Wake Forest is obviously going to be a little bit difficult, but they could win 7 straight heading to Pittsburgh in about 3 weeks. And I would just say this about UNC. It's basically the minimum you have to do. Their non-conference performance wasn't great. Doesn't mean they're not good. Their non-conference performance doesn't belie a team that clearly belongs in the NCAA tournament. Those 2 wins, those are important wins. But we'll talk about where this team is in terms of their development in this year with Adam Smith coming up in a little bit. But before we get to that, the Patriots filled their head coaching vacancy yesterday with former, 3-time Super Bowl champion Mike Vrabel was a linebacker, acted as a tight end at times on what makes this job, after several years of the Patriots being bad, so attractive.
Well, I think that the ability to have open dialogue with Robert and Jonathan was something that was critical. Elliott and his staff, obviously what I believe and what everybody else believes is a young, dynamic quarterback. We have some youth on the roster. We have some veteran players that have kind of seen both sides of it and understand, and that will help me and will help our players, get back to that success and understand how hard it is.
They have a big rebuild on the offensive side. Does Vrabel have plans for Drake May?
Put great people around him. I would say that my involvement will be as it relates to game management and situational awareness and where we are on the football field and trying to develop him as a leader of the offense. And when our quarterback, when they call the play, you want to say everybody's going to believe that it's going to score a touchdown, with that type of emphasis on how everything is going to operate. And Drake is going to be his own person, but I'm going to give him some things that I feel like are necessary to help us win football games. We have to be a very efficient passing football team, right? And when you look at statistically of what wins in the National Football League, our ability to affect the other team's quarterback and our ability to provide for an efficient quarterback and passing game is a high contributor to success. And there's a lot of ways to do that by protecting the middle of the pocket and all those things that we're going to talk about as we move forward.
I didn't hear all the press conference. I would have liked to have heard him talk about the skill set that he sees from Drake May, but those are all. That is, page 1 of the press conference handbook. We need an efficient passing game. We need to protect the quarterback. All right. Now, one thing you may have heard that Mike McCarthy is out in Dallas. He was not fired. He was simply not renewed because his contract was up after this year. And Jerry Jones, his history is loyalty and stability at head coach. He kept Jason Garrett around for, 5 years longer than he should have. And he's always been publicly supportive. He was less so this year. How did we get to this point with Mike McCarthy?
There were no contract discussions between the two sides. And so I think Mike knew that he was going to be a free agent, and Dallas knew at this point in time when he is eligible to start talking to teams as per his contract at midnight tomorrow night, and there's no contract discussions, then obviously everybody could see where it's going. And I think that the Cowboys are saying we're parting ways. Mike is saying, I expect to become a free agent, and he's not going to come back. You could phrase it and parse it however you want. I think the writing was on the wall. He was in the last year of his contract. There had been no discussions aimed at a new deal. The deal is set to expire at midnight. What do you think was going to happen?
Yeah, exactly what happened. And if But I did think it was odd that the Cowboys denied the Bears permission to talk to Mike McCarthy last week, although McCarthy will talk to the Bears this week. All right, when we come back, the dilemma, if it's even a dilemma, with UNC football and the hiring process of a coaching staff. How are they doing on the recruiting trail? And is this 3-game winning streak for UNC basketball, is it a mirage? We'll talk to Adam Smith about both of those things next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Listen every afternoon for The Drive with Tim Donnelly.
It's 2025 and everybody's looking for a fresh start with their resolutions. Every team, player, coach, they've got something on a wish list. The Canes, I think they could use a little bit more toughness. The Panthers, clarity on Bryce Young. Is he the guy? Is he not? And every college basketball team wants to be hitting their stride as they hit the ACC schedule.
The Drive with Tim Donnelly, 3 to 6 on 99.9 The Fan.
Hi, this is Mike Maniscalco. Do you want to increase the value of your home and decrease the cost of energy bills? If your home needs new windows, siding, doors, and more, look no further than your locally owned Window World, the Triangle's most trusted and America's largest exterior remodeler. A proud sponsor of the Canes, Window World will get your home looking great on the outside while saving on energy costs inside. Search Window World for a free quote today.
What's this?
We're expanding the North Carolina Education Lottery Winners Club.
That's a pretty big wrecking ball.
Well, with all these new scratch-offs, this place is going to be packed with new winners. Okay, let's go ahead and knock this wall down. This is where we're putting the polo field. Whoa, patience, Trixie.
This month's tickets are loaded with $150 million in total prizes. The Winners Club awaits. Must be 18 to play. Approximate overall odds of winning range from 3.31 to 4.55. Problem gambling helpline 877-718-5543.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99.
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time. Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always bow time.
Tim Donnelly here for DraftKings Sportsbook. Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs? Get in on the action at DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. Scoring touchdowns is key to winning in the playoffs, and you can score big by betting on them at DraftKings, the #1 place to bet touchdowns. Ready to place your first bet? Try betting on something simple like a player to score 6. New DraftKings customers can bet $5 to get $200 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code TIMD. That's code TIMD for new customers to get $200 in bonus bets instantly when you bet just $5. Only on DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 877-185-543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov. 21 plus, North Carolina only. Eligibility restrictions apply. Bonus bets expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see dkng.co/audio.
Getting your guaranteed maximum refund with TaxSlayer feels like discovering a refund tree has grown in your backyard.
I'm the refund tree.
Sawing off its branches.
Hey.
Feeding them through a wood chipper.
My branches! My beautiful branches!
And dancing in its refund rain. Start for free and get your guaranteed maximum refund. TaxSlayer. File fearlessly.
This is Adam Gold.
Home runs are homers, not dingers, not jacks, not bombs.
Can I use tater?
I know. Can we say go in yard?
Oh, yes.
Right?
If we can't exaggerate, if we can't use colorful, flowery metaphors and descriptions, why are we here?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. Victoria on the ones and twos. We had a big staff meeting here today, and I know a number of you who might be listening will laugh at this. I was lauded for my knowledge of music, and I know there's at least one person out there that just spit whatever he was drinking onto his computer, and I apologize for that. By the way, there's a mural, a piece of artwork in the back toward the sales office, Victoria, with a bunch of albums stacked up.
Mm-hmm.
I was looking at the titles of the albums to see how many I have had in my past when I used to have albums.
Yeah.
And one jumped out to me. And you can't really bump with it. So just understand.
Not FCC regulated?
Not really.
Okay.
And it's called Frank Zappa's Joe's Garage.
Ah, yes.
And it's a story.
Mm-hmm.
The album is a story, and it is the story is cool, but the album is incredible.
Yeah.
Frank Zappa's Joe's Garage. They did like subsequent albums. There was like part 2 and part 3 that were okay.
Yeah.
Joe's Garage is
I didn't know if you got my bump song because I was talking to our next guest on the phone. We like to chat it up sometimes.
Right.
So the song, Should I Stay or Should I Go? Because Bill Belichick.
Very nice.
That's where the connection is.
I was just digging the Clash.
I know.
Right.
It's always a good day for
and
the
Clash. And
Clash.
there was a Clash album there, too.
Yeah.
I saw the Clash at Hofstra University, which is on Long Island.
Mm-hmm.
And I only know that I saw the Clash because I was told I was there.
Oh, okay. It's one of those concerts.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Adam Smith, Inside Carolina, joins us now on the Adam Gold Show. You have never had a better introduction than that. All right.
I love it. Please keep going. I love it. I have been to Hofstra before. Let's just tell stories about, Long Island.
I ended up on Hempstead Turnpike, and I can't even explain how, why, or how I got back. I really can't. People who know Hofstra understand Gold's pretty lucky to be here. Pretty lucky to be here. All right, let's get to, speaking of lucky to be here, I think we've all been lucky the last several weeks. The energy and all of that surrounding UNC football is real with Bill Belichick. Of course, it comes with the general, because this is the time of the year where NFL coaching openings come up, and he's going to be mentioned, whether, real or not, for all of them at some level. How have you guys negotiated this part of the Bill Belichick experience? Because there are still people who insist he's going back to the NFL even this year.
Buckling up and holding on tight in terms of negotiating the experience, to answer your question. Well, it was a little more, just in terms of the work on our plate, it was a little more relieving to see Michael Lombardi say, I guess through Twitter, that the most recent report was total fabrication. They like to use that word, total fabrication, that phrase. I will point out to you that obviously, I'm sure this has been much discussed on your airwaves and many, that if Bill Belichick was to leave UNC right now, the buyout would be $10 million.
Right.
Now it does drop to $1 million in the summertime before he even coaches a football game at the University of North Carolina. Been trying to figure out why that was worked into the contract the way it was, but still working on that. But yeah, it's. I think there are some people that are a little antsy, even just from the fact that they sort of haven't announced these hires. Like we we're doing our damnedest over here to, nail these guys. They just hired a defensive backs coach. We just got that story up this morning. My guy, Jeremiah Holloway, working hard on that one. It's been an interesting, well, how far do you want me to go back, AG?
You can go back as far as you want, man.
Since the UNC baseball team made the run to Omaha?
Sure. Why not? We can go back to the Bill Guthridge era. R.I.P. R.I.P. to one of the great people.
Absolutely. Coach Gutt. But, yeah, it's been the last several months from the end of MAC to I'm sitting here in my home office where I was holding on for dear life several days there when it looked like Belichick was going to be the hire. And, not to make it about me, but when your job is to break the news for UNC, if something happens, whether they hire Adam Gold or Bill Belichick, and you got people like Adam Schefter lurking around in the waters out there, it's terrifying. It has certainly been interesting, and I will say that, as a guy who covers this team, I am extremely intrigued about how this all might shake out if they get it set up the way they want to get it set up, because after you get past the immediate reaction of being like, no way would he go to college, and you hear about what their plan is, as I know you've been over.
Yeah.
You start to think, well, why wouldn't it work if they're going to invest the way they're going to invest? I mean, they've got 5 times more NIL money to play with than Mac Brown's regime had.
Yeah.
So if they're going to set it up this way with the front office side and then the player development side, and tell people, you know what, we'll get you ready for the NFL. If you want to go to the NFL, come here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see how it works in the state, with the state of ACC football the way it is.
That is true. That's another element to this conversation, that if there is a league where this can not only work, but work to the degree that it puts UNC football on the map, the Atlantic Coast Conference is the greatest petri dish for this, because I didn't really mean it in some sort of a way like that, but it sort of has double meaning, right? Because there's not a whole lot here. There's been good football, but it kind of goes, that's really where it ends, right? It's just been good. I was, and we'll get to basketball in a second here, but I was having a conversation with somebody about the state of ACC basketball. And while I think Carolina and Pitt and Clemson are 3 very good teams, right? To varying degrees, they're good teams. But in a vintage ACC, we'll say, those teams would be fighting it out for like 6, 7, 8 in terms of the quality of the team, not 2, 3, and 4. And that's what we've got. So we'll get to basketball in a second. So let me just throw some things at you, and you can just and give us what you know. In terms of the staff, we know Steve Belichick is going to be the defensive coordinator. Chip Patterson told us last week, I really don't know what kind of defense he plays, but it's probably a lot like what his dad did for New England for years. Of course, it's hard to really identify that since he changed it so many times depending on what they needed in a given game. So where is the staff as far as we know in terms of anything high profile?
What we have been able, that's a great question. This is what everyone wants to know. What we have been able to nail down is that certainly Steve Belichick is on board. You've seen him out there recruiting with his dad.
Yeah.
Freddie Kitchens is going to be the offensive coordinator next season. Now, to me personally, I was kind of surprised to hear that. I thought, and I love talking to Freddie. I mean, he is a great interview subject. He is wonderful. He's got stories for days.
Yeah.
You know? I mean, he's got stories of when he first broke into the NFL and he's coaching tight ends for the Dallas Cowboys, and they're running the wrong route out there in California where they have training camp. And a man by the name of Bill Parcells says, son, those guys are going to get you fired. And because they're just, they're not clean with what they're doing.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, every indication we have gotten, and we reported it, that Freddie Kitchens is going to be the offensive coordinator. Personally, I'm surprised by that.
Yep.
But Bill Belichick has 6 more Super Bowl rings as a head coach and 8 overall than I have. They need a running backs coach. They need a wide receivers coach. They need a tight ends coach. They need some position coaches here. They have been adding to the front office side.
Right.
And that's just an interesting entity with what they're doing with the NIL. I would tell your listeners, if you are a UNC fan, we're hearing some stuff about them continuing to trim the roster down that I'm working on right now.
Right.
In terms of maybe telling guys that the NIL deal they had under the previous regime ain't going to be the NIL deal they have now. To which I've responded to a couple messages in our work Slack as cold world has been my general response right now. So there could be, with as much as they have done in the portal, AG, they have had 16 guys leave. They've had 15 guys come. There could be some more roster churn here. But the media darling Bill Belichick will continue to make his appearances on Pat McAfee and the Manningcast. Yep.
Well, the Manningcast is over. I actually watched the last one last night. He was great. That was if you're interested in really learning, that stuff was absolutely fascinating to me. Were you surprised I didn't watch the game, so don't accuse me of that. But my understanding was he was not at the Fenway Bowl, the Wasabi, whatever it's called. Are you surprised that he wasn't at least at the game?
I am. We were told he was not. I know he has a lot of work to do.
Yeah.
But we've been told that he did not go to they had their bowl practices. Knowing what a ball knower he is, I just mentally picture him out there at UNC's indoor practice facility, sort of breaking down this roster of guys he's inherited. But we were told he did not attend those practices, that Freddie Kitchens was the interim coach at that point, that they would have their practices in the morning, that he would go back to the facility and he would sit down with Belichick and he would sort of give him his report from practice. I can tell you that I don't know if you remember this scene, but it was a sleepy Saturday basketball game against LaSalle in the middle of December. And the UNC was playing pretty decently, blew them out. But to see Bill Belichick walk out to the middle of Roy Williams Court at the Dean Smith Center, bathed in Carolina blue, and then to see Bryce Baker, the blue chip quarterback recruit they have coming in out of East Forsyth, that was a pretty big time power move, I thought. I've been fortunate enough to been to a lot of games over the last couple of decades, and that was something to see him walk out there and talk to the UNC basketball crowd, and the whole place, everybody in the place was standing up. And then you have just who many have compared Bryce Baker's game to a Drake May, and he looks up to Drake to see sort of the next guy who, he's gorgeous, by the way. He's 6'4". He looks like, he's an athlete personified. To see him stride out there and be like, Tar Heel Nation, what's up? You're like, hey. Dang, man. This is kind of a new day here. So
Adam Smith is my kind of guest. You describing another man, because you speak right to me. Describing another man as gorgeous, I think, to me is great. No, I'm not even joking. I love the fact that you did that, and you are a handsome man yourself. Let me quick, since we sort of flipped to basketball, because I only have a couple of
tons of time, by the way. Go as long as you want to go.
I don't have as much maybe as you do. Unfortunately, I wish I had more. But let me just ask you real quick about basketball. Since I've said a ton about this, and people think that I'm anti-UNC. I love this team. I just think they're incredibly limited. And I think if they max out, they're an NCAA tournament team. For me, no brainer. I don't know what their impact will be in that event, but I think they'll make the NCAA tournament team if they max out. But I'm curious your thoughts on this 3-game winning streak, and if is that an indication for you that they have turned a corner and will be more of that team going forward?
You ask all the right questions, don't you?
Thank you.
You're welcome. I mean, they need to be. Duh. Like this, what they've been able to do the last 3 games, and they've won 5 of their last 6 since they lost to Florida in Charlotte. It's needed. I mean, the word to me is needed or much needed. I mean, they need to stack some of these wins against these teams that certainly are beatable. I mean, you could make an argument that if they're able, they have the 2 West Coast schools coming in this week.
Right.
They have Cal and Stanford. They should win those games. They go to Wake Forest next week, which will not be easy. They've gone there and gotten blown out the last couple of times they've been there. That will be a difficult assignment, but they could very well go into go to Pitt at the end of this month with a really nice winning streak if they're able to keep sort of playing the way that they've been playing. I mean, they have been better. And you were sort of hinting at it there. I just think that this roster is the composition of it is just mismatched or flawed, maybe is a better way to put it. I mean, their best 5 players are guards.
Yes.
By the way, where in the world would this UNC team be right now without Ian Jackson just becoming a freshman sensation?
Awesome.
I mean, yeah, really.
Talked about it yesterday. Ian Jackson picked the wrong year to be a freshman in the ACC. Wrong year. Sorry.
You were right, with the guy over in Durham.
The player of the year is maybe nationally is a freshman at Duke. So all the awards that Ian Jackson would win. And now I might vote for him for freshman of the year because Cooper Flagg's going to win player of the year, just to give Ian Jackson some trophy.
I think Duke clearly is decapitating people right now. Yeah. I had not planned on using the word decapitating on air, but that's where we are, Duke decapitating. But I will be interested to see when those 2 teams, Carolina and Duke, get together.
February 1st, right?
Right, yeah. February 1st in Durham. You got it. I want to see Drake Powell guarding Cooper Flagg because these are guys who have matched up on the AAU circuit forever, on the high school all-star circuit forever. Drake Powell is not capable of scoring 42 points like Cooper went off for the other day. He's just not that kind of player. But he is a defensive stud. I mean, the guy has length and athleticism. I am in no way sitting here saying Drake Powell is going to lock down Cooper Flagg. I just think.
Oh no, that's what you said.
Yeah. We'll clip it. I just think that would be a super interesting matchup.
Oh my gosh, would it be the Jackie Manuel versus JJ Redick? I'm here for that.
That's a callback.
I'm here for that. Oh
what
man,
was it? That one Hansborough team went 4-0 in Durham.
Tyler and Bobby,
Tyler
Hansborough and Bobby Fraser have never lost. No, never. Like, they're not playing anymore there. Had never lost at Hansborough Indoor Stadium. Adam Smith, Inside Carolina, at Adam_Smith_IC. My friend, thank you so much for the update, the insight, the laughs, all of that. We will talk to you very soon, sir.
You're very welcome. Glad to be back with you guys.
Me too. He is very handsome, actually, I believe. All right. I thought this would be a good time to throw this in. We went through it this year with Bryce Young, Panthers quarterback, right? We went from the sort of optimism of the beginning. Let's even go back into the preseason. We hear Dave Canales say all these things during the preseason about Bryce doing this, Bryce doing that. We have the joint practice. Remember with the Jets and Bryce and the Panthers offense destroyed the Jets defense, and by all accounts they did. I mean, we didn't watch it on TV. Maybe you saw a highlight here and there on social media or team websites or whatever. And then they played one series in the preseason. It was a great one against the, I think it was Buffalo Bills cardboard cutout defense, because nobody was playing who plays in the NFL. And then we start the season, and the first 2 games looked like the first 2 games. And we went from optimism to, oh my gosh, he's bad, to the point where Dave Canales, whether it's him or David Tepper or somebody else, said, nah, we're pulling the plug on this. And there was never any indication that Bryce Young was going to come back. Ever. Andy Dalton has the car accident, however many weeks later. Bryce has to start. They really limit what they can do for the first few weeks. I think it was the game in Denver in which they never really looked vertical at all. Everything was behind the line of scrimmage, horizontal. Nothing was down the field. It was impossible to look like a competent offense. And so they met that challenge by being an incompetent offense. But Canales did say after the game, Bryce did a lot of good things, did everything we asked him to do. And it slowly started to get better. And I don't even remember the game in which it started to click. But obviously, with the one blip being the Dallas game notwithstanding, it started to look like a real NFL offense with a real NFL quarterback. So that's the long lead into this, Victoria. Based on performance this year, where do you think NFL.com ranked Bryce Young at the end of the season among 32 NFL starting quarterbacks?
I wouldn't be surprised if it was towards the bottom.
14th.
Wow.
14th.
Okay, so kind of in the middle.
Kind of in the middle.
Look at that.
That's in the upper half of the middle.
I know.
14 teams make the NFL playoffs.
Yes. And
Just
wow. So they think
throwing
he's better
that
than
out
the
there.
ones.
All right, so for the sake of this exercise,
So unlike media to think positively of the Panthers.
like I said, the development was eye-opening.
Yeah.
One, Lamar Jackson. We could read the numbers. Their numbers they make you laugh. The numbers just are, they're comedy. Number 2 is Josh Allen. See what I just said about Lamar Jackson and play it again. 3 is Joe Burrow, who also had just an incredible season, albeit they didn't make the playoffs. They lost too many games. 4 was Jared Goff.
Okay.
Incredible year for Detroit.
Yeah.
5 was Sam Darnold. Really hard to argue with the regular season that he had. He was great.
Yeah.
Until the last
Just have
game.
to look past the last couple.
To the last game and the playoff game, which, he did revert to the mean a little bit.
I know. I was going to say, this reminded me of old school Sam, like Carolina Sam.
And there are people who think that, well, that's the real, what we saw the last 2 weeks, that's the real Sam Darnold. No, that's not the real Sam Darnold. That's what happens in certain games when it's not going well for your team. Let's not forget that Darnold was sacked 6 times in the first half.
Yeah.
Now, sometimes the sack is on the quarterback, not the offensive line. And I think that some of that was Darnold's fault. Not getting rid of the ball when he should was Darnold's fault.
Especially towards the end.
Oh, my gosh. Even in the second quarter, there were a few. I remember Belichick is only on during the second quarter, during those Manning casts. And I watched just about all of the second quarter on the Manning cast. And Belichick was, that's quarterback. You got, that's preparation before the snap. Look, Darnold wasn't a top 5 NFL quarterback, or isn't a top 5 NFL quarterback.
No.
But he had a year that put him into that discussion. But Darnold was 5. Baker Mayfield 6.
I could see that.
Yeah, big year.
Yeah.
Threw a lot of interceptions, but 4,500 yards passing and 41 touchdown passes.
Yes.
So,
tons of bombs.
But he turned the ball over a lot. Fumbled
did.
13 times, threw 16 interceptions. Jaden Daniels, 7.
Wow. Look at him go. It makes sense. He's great. He had a great year. Still going.
It is still going. Chick Hernandez, who joined us last hour, I could see myself. I don't have a football team that I root for. I could root for Washington with Jaden Daniels.
He's fun to watch.
Oh, my gosh. He's fun. He looks like he plays while having fun. My favorite play from the game was late on when they did the fake handoff, and he just casually had the ball on his hip.
Yeah.
And then he was just kind of standing there, and then he took off, and he had the stiff arm of the. Oh my gosh,
He's
my
got
favorite play of the game. He is so good. 8, Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, I'm not surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised if he was out of the top 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, he didn't have the vintage Patrick Mahomes year.
No.
He did, however, throw for 3,900 yards, 26 touchdowns. He did have 11 interceptions, so a couple of rushing touchdowns. So it wasn't vintage Mahomes.
But it wasn't awful.
8th.
Yeah.
Not bad. Justin Herbert, 9th. Yeah, I've said this before about Herbert. He's the biggest tease in the NFL.
Yeah.
Should be better.
Yeah, he should be.
Should be better.
You got Harbaugh helping you too. Like,
yep.
I had a little more expectation for him this season, but that could also
They made the playoffs at least. Geno Smith, 10th. Jordan Love, 11th. Matthew Stafford, 12th. I think that's kind of slander. I think he's better than that.
He
but
should
regardless,
be higher up there.
Regardless, I mean, he didn't have an amazing season. They got off to a slow start. And I think there were some injury issues with Stafford. He played in 16 of the 17 games. I guess he didn't play the last one. But he was number 12. 13 was Brock Purdy, who also had some injury issues, and his team had injury issues.
Did not help him at all.
14, Bryce, as we said earlier. And I'm just going to skip over the rest and then just tell you that C.J. Stroud, according to this, 21st.
Really?
If you're asking me to big picture quarterbacks in the NFL, C.J. Stroud is well inside the top 20. But I only bring it up to remind the people, and this is not about me, this is about, and what I said at the time was, it's a long race.
Mm-hmm.
There are players and teams that hit right away, and this is what I will say about Jaden Daniels too, by the way, and then fall back. We don't know what the real impetus was for C.J. Stroud's emergence a year ago. Sometimes it's momentum of a team. Clearly, Houston was outstanding last year and an emerging, we thought, dynamite team. They didn't have a great year. And some of that was C.J. Stroud not playing well this year. Frankly, if you watch the wild card game against the Chargers, he really wasn't that good.
Yeah. No, people were saying, oh, well, it's because there's so many injuries. But even when the guys came back, he still was.
Oh, wait. It's so injuries and the players around you matter.
Isn't that crazy?
Oh, my gosh.
I know.
So,
I'm curious where Aaron Rodgers was on this
Oh,
list.
you know, I didn't get to Aaron Rodgers because I stopped at C.J. Stroud.
Oh, boy.
Dak Prescott was 19th, by the way. Of course, he was hurt for most of the season, but he also threw a lot of interceptions when he was healthy. Drake May was 20th, by the way. Russell Wilson, 22nd. Rodgers, 23rd, right behind Russell Wilson. I mean, he's 1,000.
Yeah.
1,000 years old.
He is.
But
still doesn't know if he's coming back.
Whatever he does, whatever. The whole reason I brought this thing up was Bryce placing in the top half of the NFL among starting quarterbacks, and simply to remind people that your career isn't made up by one season. If you go back and you look at Peyton Manning's trajectory as a starting quarterback in the NFL, not only would people be surprised by how bad he was in year one, I think you'll be surprised by how average to below average he was for a couple of years until it finally clicked. So, it's a long run. It's a long race. The Bryce Young that those of us thought would be great can still be great. So can C.J. Stroud. My whole point last year was it really doesn't matter how good Stroud is as long as your guy's good. What C.J. Stroud does doesn't matter as long as Bryce Young is good. I think Bryce Young is good. So the Panthers should be happy about their quarterback. All right, when we come back, we will stretch. We will place bets. I am excited. Can I bet on that fake golf?
Sure, why not?
I don't know if I can. It might not
Maybe.
be. I'll look. I'll see.
You can make up your own
If
odds.
we can bet on TGL golf. I won't watch it, though. We have Duke basketball tonight, and the Premier League is back today. Next.
Going beyond the box scores. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
I choose to stay up to date on my vaccines to protect what matters most, my community.
Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you.
So make sure you have protection against new virus strains that continue to spread this fall and winter.
Don't wait. Get up to date.
Because my health is our health.
Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Don't wait. Get your updated shots today.
Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people aged 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
When it comes to health, we're all on our own journey. Our challenges aren't always visible to those around us. You may be living with aches and pains, fatigue, shortness of breath, or other symptoms that make it difficult to manage everyday life. These problems can be the result of a variety of conditions, including long COVID, which 1 in 5 adults who've had COVID-19 may develop, according to the CDC. When symptoms linger, they could lead to feelings of isolation, but you don't have to go through it alone. For challenges like these, physical therapy is the solution. Physical therapists are the licensed healthcare providers moving you to better health. They can improve your quality of life through hands-on care, patient education, and prescribed movement. No matter where you are on your health journey, your physical therapist and physical therapist assistant can help. When we work together, we feel better together. So choose more movement. Choose better health. Choose physical therapy. Visit ChoosePT.com to find a physical therapist near you or ask your primary care provider for a referral. This message is provided by the American Physical Therapy Association.
When it comes to prostate cancer, go to pcf.org for the help you need to navigate this disease and make the right decisions for yourself. Go to pcf.org today.
This is Adam Gold.
80-second mark, I scream in the booth. I screamed in the booth. Why the heck is he still on the ice?
Did you say it in Finnish?
I should have.
Yes.
No, he wouldn't. He curses in English.
He does.
All right, 2 seconds later, he scored.
Yes.
And I went, oh, that's why. That's what.
The Adam Gold Show.
See, Adam excuse me. See, Adam Gold Show. Frog in my throat. Victoria's on the ones and twos. Next hour, Rod Baxley will join us in advance of the highly anticipated, not really, Duke Miami tilt at Cameron Indoor Stadium. I'll say this real quick. I'll say this to Rod. I do think that Duke will go. Let's take the two Carolina games out of the equation. Those are separate entities, I think. They will win the other 18 games that they play in league play unless they decide they don't want to in a given game. They'll be 18-0 other than the two games against Carolina, and those are just outliers because of the rivalry. But we'll talk to Rod Baxley about Duke and the rest of the league, including North Carolina and NC State, in a sec. But first, it's time to stretch.
Okay, so I'm a punny person. I love puns. I love silly sense of humors. And I love when companies, organizations, whatever, do silly things to kind of promote themselves. It's just a different way to get their name out there. And Arby's is great at it. I love this. So last Friday was Quitter's Day, if anyone heard about that. So that's, if you haven't, it's when you abandon your New Year's resolution. So what Arby's has decided to do this week, now it's only in 5 cities, in Raleigh or anywhere in North Carolina. It's not one of it, but it's just funny to hear about. So they're running a promotion in 5 cities called New Year, Same You. And all they did was they added salad to their menu, but they didn't actually add salad. They just kind of changed up the names of some of their other foods. So basically what you can do is you can go to the counter and say, I want a salad with dressing. And that is actually a double beef and cheddar sandwich. Or you could go get a, quote, green smoothie, which is a milkshake. And last but not least, if you want a side of steamed veggies, that's actually just their delicious curly fries.
Nice. Good for Arby's.
I want to know what the mozzarella stick code for is, because that's what I would be in for. So they have this fun idea that you could, keep your New Year's resolution if your significant other asks you, what'd you have for lunch? All I had for lunch was a salad and some steamed veggies.
That's beautiful.
I love this. So if you want to give it a try and you happen to be in Cleveland, Las Vegas, Miami, Chicago, or Atlanta, that's where they're doing it. Otherwise, just do it in your brain. But I love it. This is great. Hilarious. One thing I love, too, when we place good bets.
Yes.
Place your bets. Here. I bet you slice into the woods $100.
Gambling is illegal at Bushwood, sir, and I never slide.
Okay, you can owe me. I owe you nothing.
Remember when I said I was going to keep track this year?
Yeah.
Let's move on.
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
You go first.
Okay, that's okay. We don't need to until we start winning more. So I'm going to do all on the ice. Ottawa Senators. This one's for our friend Brad. They're going to be in New York taking on the Islanders. Give me the Senators to win, and I'm going to go with the under 5.5. That's plus 260.
All right, we're going to start at Cameron Indoor Stadium. Duke is a 24.5-point favorite over Miami.
Wow. Okay.
No wonder why Larinaga retired.
Yeah.
Quit. Was it on Quitter's Day that he quit? No,
Probably.
It was before. I'm going to take Miami at a 24.5. That's just a lot of points. Under 146.5 plus 202.
Yeah, he's going to eat a salad at Arby's right now. So the Anaheim Ducks, they're going to be in Washington taking on the Capitals. Give me the Capitals to beat the Ducks. Under 5.5 plus 175.
All right, we're going to do a West London parlay. All right, we've got 4 Premier League games today. Fulham is at West Ham. Give me Fulham to win. Chelsea hosts Bournemouth. Give me Chelsea to win. Plus 263.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friend Gordon Miller, Miller Lending, Kildare Farm Road in Cary. And why am I here? I am here to help you avoid wasting your money, because with Miller Lending, you get to keep your money. You get to keep thousands of dollars that the banks and other lenders take from you in closing costs. And sometimes they don't take it at the front. Sometimes they tell you it's a no closing cost loan, but what they really do is fold those closing costs into the loan amount. They hide them. Never at Miller Lending. No closing cost means the loan amount stays the same and you get to keep thousands of dollars, sometimes as much as $5,000, even more, in closing cost money. Miller Lending. Oh, by the way, and when you refinance free of charge, you lower your monthly payment. I've done it 11 times. Miller Lending on Kildare Farm Road in Cary. They are an equal housing lender. NMLS ID 250-2146.
All playoff roads lead to New Orleans.
Playoff football, baby.
The Wild Cards, the championship games, presented by First Horizon Bank and Wake Med, will be heard here.
Curtis Samuel, 30, back it inside of the 20, 15, 10, slips out of a tackle, touchdown Buffalo, 55 yards.
Hot dog, man. The Triangle's home for Super Bowl 59. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle sports leader.
The new year is here. Time for change. Start a recession-resistant new career in the high-demand fields of IT, cybersecurity, and AI with My Computer Career in just months. Already in IT? Build your cybersecurity skills and prep for thousands of open positions employers nationwide are desperate to fill. Attend classes live online or on campus. Make this your year. Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation today. That's mycomputercareer.edu. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including the GI Bill.
This is the story of the one who, as a maintenance specialist for a historic high-rise, knows that vintage charm historically needs constant attention. Which is why when it's time to upgrade turn-of-the-century mechanicals, they turn to Grainger. With easy access to 1 million+ products and the scale to deliver when and where you need them. The right tools and supplies are never far away. So the one can keep that vintage building running like new. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Looking for a new vehicle? Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC in Sanford is one of the only dealerships where you can shop all 4 brands under one roof. Get unbeatable deals on new and pre-owned vehicles. Our expert service department keeps you on the road, and our full body shop handles any repairs. It's all here at Wilkinson, where quality and convenience come first. Drive with confidence, drive with Wilkinson Chevrolet Cadillac Buick GMC on NC 87 South in Sanford, or online at wilkinsoncars.com.
It's 2025 and it's time to get your home zero resified by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. Get 3 rooms zero resified starting at just $109 and take $100 off your air duct cleaning as well. Book online anytime at ZeroResRaleigh.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
This hour of the Triangle Sports Leader is powered by Ritchie Law Firm, injury lawyers. Ritchie Law is on top of it. Go to ritchielaw.com.
That's ritchielaw.com.
They score! WCMC HD1 Holly Springs. Take us with you on the radio, Instagram, TikTok, Alexa, and YouTube. 99.9 The Fan, the Triangle Sports Leader.
To be honest, it's really not about the Steelers. You know, it's just us just winning in the playoffs. So it's just great to win. And Derek, can't take nothing away from Derek, man. He's just that guy. You know when Lightning McQueen just flying, flashing past, and then it's like, that's how Derek looked. He was running past, and all those guys just, it looked like a movie, bro. I'm not gonna lie to you. I can just hand the ball off. 10 yards, 20 yards, 30 yards, and I'm just chilling, you know. So now when they're attacking him, then I go, and it's like, I'm fresh, you know, just making my job a lot easier. We just pick it back off of each other.
I don't know who's going to be the MVP, but his name is either going to be Lamar Jackson or Josh Allen, and I ain't going to cry about either one. And I think when we talked to Will Brinson a couple of weeks ago, we talked about, man, you should just call it a tie and move on because both guys have been so unbelievable all year long. If we're just going by raw numbers, then Lamar Jackson wins it. And maybe that's the tiebreaker because the numbers are like staggering how good they are. But if we're just going by that, then to me, that's the issue. Those are clearly those are the best numbers of the year. Over 5,000 yards from scrimmage. 41 touchdown passes, 4 interceptions. That's like a great college season, but he's having it in the NFL. Absolutely remarkable. Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer is going to be at Cameron Indoor Stadium for the highly anticipated, no, it's not, Duke-Miami game in which Duke is a 24.5-point favorite. I do think Miami was either ranked or thought to be good when the season began. I think that's incorrect. Anyway, we'll get to that with Rod Baxley in a little bit less than 15 minutes. But right now, it's Wall of Sound time.
The Wall of Sound is a function of this studio. There's no doubt about it.
All right, the head coach of your Carolina Hurricanes spoke today. Rod Brindamore, fresh off of his goal last night. Did you see video of the goal?
I did not, but that's on the to-do list. I just need more time in the day.
Yeah, no, I just go to my timeline. I haven't tweeted a lot today. You'll find it.
Oh, okay.
I tweeted it out. I guess Bleacher Report, some Bleacher Report on Ice or something like that, whatever it was. They tweeted it out, and I saw the video. I'm like, oh, there's your second center.
Oh, nice.
Just that simple.
Nice.
Good two-way player, right? Can score a little bit. He's been right here, right under our nose. Anyway, he was asked today how it felt last night.
No, that was the part. It was great. Just being around those guys in that environment, kind of, I know it's old guys, hacking it around, but it still feels kind of the same when you're out there with them. And just the camaraderie that we have that was a special night for me.
All right, let's get to a couple of other hockey things, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the big picture. Hurricanes are in Buffalo tomorrow. Buffalo is a team that has struggled to gain traction this year, as teams like Ottawa and Columbus have sort of turned the corner into being more consistently good. Not great, because we're talking about teams that are basically at 500. But Buffalo has struggled to get there. But they've got guys who can absolutely do damage. And they've got a great young core on the blue line. And Rod Brindamore was asked about the challenge.
Well, the talent is there on that team, right? It's one of the more talented teams, I think, in the league. I mean, you just look at the roster top to bottom, they put together a great team. I think they've just been a little inconsistent, too, and that's the killer in this league. So sometimes you don't know what you're getting, I guess, and hopefully we don't get the team that looks like they, what they're all about. So young team, they're finding their way, but a lot of talent out there.
They are talented, and I would argue that Carolina should expect the team that plays to their level of talent, because that's what the Hurricanes need. If you look, Carolina's basically played their best games against the best teams. And what Eric Cole said to us yesterday about, he thought maybe the players felt like it was going to be an easier game against Anaheim. But Anaheim is the same thing as Buffalo. They have risen to the occasion against the best teams. I mean, it's human nature. So don't treat Buffalo like they're the bottom feeder in the East, because they can play a lot better than that. Now, the schedule doesn't get that much easier, but it's not 6 games in 9 days, and Rod Brindamore was asked about the schedule.
I don't know. We'll see. It's the nature of it. Every team goes through the stretches like that because of the players want it that way. I mean, it gives them a 2-week break in the middle of the season somewhere. So if you're going to want that, you got to stay sharp on the other end. That's the trade-off. So because I do think that break is nice. I think it's probably too long. We should have probably figured a way to not have that much break, because what you said, you get games where you're just stacking them in, and no, I don't know how good that is.
So what Rob Brindamore is referring to there is the Four Nations tournament will give teams essentially a 2-week break. If you're not involved in the Four Nations, you get 2 weeks off in the middle of the hockey season. I think it's the week leading up to President's Day weekend and the week after. It's going to take some time to play the Four Nations tournament. There's a few days off before it starts, and then a few days off after it ends, because those guys who are playing get a little bit of a break as well. Anyway, so that's 2 weeks without hockey, and because of that, the schedule was kind of like accordioned in front of it and behind it, because they didn't want to start earlier and they didn't want to end later. So these 2 weeks, which would normally have on average 6 or 7 games, I'm going to cram them in. All right, now, Frederik Andersen was on the ice today for practice, for actual practice. Pyotr Kochetkov was not, but Andersen was on the ice for practice, and Rod was asked about the progress of Andersen coming back from injury.
That's not a question for me. I mean, I'm glad to see him out there, and hopefully he's getting game ready. I think that was more one of his first full practices where we didn't have 3 guys out there, so I think that's encouraging.
It is encouraging. All right, so when Andersen went down with the injury, they said 8 to 12 weeks. 8 weeks is actually coming up. I think we might even be here. 12 weeks is the start of the Four Nations tournament. My understanding, through conversations around the team, but not necessarily with the head coach, is that we should expect 12 weeks with Andersen. Because honestly, we've been around and we've watched, and we know Freddie is on Freddie time. And this is not to be a negative. I'm trying not to make that a negative statement. But this is what experience tells us. Andersen isn't going to come back until he's absolutely ready. And a couple of practices isn't it. So with 12 weeks being the start of the Four Nations tournament, I have always gone into this thinking Andersen back after the Four Nations tournament. In which case, the Hurricanes will have about a week or so before the trade deadline to evaluate what they need. Let's be honest here. The time to add a goaltender, that's past. That's over. They're not adding a goaltender because Andersen's coming back. There's no need to add a goaltender unless Andersen has a setback or Kochetkov gets hurt. That's it. And if Kochetkov gets hurt, I'm not entirely sure they would add a goaltender. They would just kind of lean maybe a little bit more on Dustin Tokarski just to keep Frederik Andersen alive. But when you look at the forensics, and when this season is over, and we go through the forensics of what happened to Carolina during the stretch where they go from 16-5-1 to what their record is now, and it's a lot of games. 16-5-1 was 22 games. They've got, I think, 37 games left, so they played 43, which means basically 22-21. That's what they've played. And in this 21-game span, they're 1 game under 500. What led to it? 2 things led to it. The first is that the offense wasn't what the offense was in the first 22 games. Why? Martin Necas walked past a mirror and realized, I'm not Wayne Gretzky. As much as I would like to be Wayne Gretzky, I'm not. Doesn't mean he's not good. He's done some good things. We're starting to, this is again regression to the mean. We're starting to see that he's still over a point a game, but he's not at 1.6 points a game like he was for the first 22 games. So the offense has come back down to earth, maybe even gone a little bit further, maybe even a little bit below ground. And what the offense was showing you was that it was compensating for the goaltending. It just was. We didn't pay that much attention to it then because the Hurricanes were winning. But those of us who were paying attention to it were like, yeah, the goaltending's going to need to be better because this offense is going to go away, and then what are you left with? And what you're left with is this. So if people are wondering, well, is this the Hurricanes? Yeah, the offense will come back. Will it come back to 4 goals a game? No, but it's going to come back. The goaltending, however, if it doesn't improve, it's going to be hard to be anything more than a handful of games over 500 in this span. And that is the reality of where they are. The goaltending has to be better. And I frankly don't care if people are upset with me on social media, even on Blue Sky. Even on Blue Sky, people are going, Gold, you're a dope. I thought that was for Twitter. I thought people were happy on Blue Sky.
You're not safe anywhere.
It sounds happy, Blue Sky. I'm not blaming everything on Kochetkov because he isn't the only goalie. Said the same thing about Spencer Martin.
Yeah.
But even within games where Kochetkov was great, Tampa, the goal he allowed at the end cost you a point for sure, and maybe 2. Because that goal isn't one that should allow. But he did. The 2 goals he allowed to Cutter Gauthier on Sunday against Anaheim, neither of those goals should go. Does that cost Carolina a point? I mean, the game plays out differently maybe, but probably cost Carolina a point, maybe 2. It just isn't that complicated, folks. We don't have to look for inner meaning. If the goaltending isn't better, Hurricanes are going to have trouble winning games consistently. It is that simple. Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer. Canes in town to take on Duke. It's the Miami Hurricanes, not the Carolina Hurricanes. In town to take on Duke.
I thought they were going to keep doing college stuff here.
Canes Alumni Association taking on the Duke Blue Devils.
Right.
They would get run.
Oh, yeah.
Run. Rod Baxley next.
Raleigh to Boone, Charlotte to Chapel Hill. Your Carolina is covered. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold, and do you have a late-night craving for in-depth analysis on the Carolina Hurricanes and their latest game, their latest win, their pursuit of the Stanley Cup? Well, I can quench your thirst. I can feed that appetite on the Canes Corner podcast, the morning after edition, which drops the morning after every Hurricanes game. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Brought to you by the Aluminum Company of North Carolina.
Don't go through another year with all that high interest debt. Let Loan Pronto wipe it all out now. Hey, it's Dennis Cox. Loan Pronto's Rapid Equity Loan makes it easy to pay off all your credit cards or tackle that 2025 home improvement project. Get cash in your pocket fast. No appraisals, no paperwork, no waiting. Loan Pronto's AI-driven tech gets you approved and funded in as little as 1 day. One client got $150,000 approved in under 24 hours. Paid off all their credit cards, 2 cars, and a personal loan, saving over $1,500 per month. With low fixed rates and lightning fast transfers, you can do it too. Consolidate debt, improve your home, take control of your finances. Imagine being credit card debt-free by this time next week. Don't wait. Call Loan Pronto now, 919-381-1760, or visit loanpronto.com. Get a free rate quote with no hard credit pull, 919-381-1760, loanpronto.com. Equal housing lender, NMLS 1661781, subject to lender approval, NMLSconsumeraccess.org.
It's bow time.
A leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
Leg and thigh dinner from Bojangles for just $5.99?
So crispy.
So crispy.
And juicy.
And juicy.
So much flavor.
So much.
Stop it. What are you doing?
What, you expect me to get this delicious deal and not say anything?
You're unbelievable.
You're unbelievable.
With a boldly seasoned leg and thigh, choice of fixin', a biscuit, and legendary iced tea, it's a deal so good it's worth repeating. So eat and repeat while it lasts. It's bow time.
It's bow time.
Dine in, drive through, or tap your favorite delivery app and have Bojangles come to you. Satisfy your craving for flavor right now with Bojangles 2-piece dinner. 2 pieces of Bojangles dark meat chicken, your choice of fixin', a biscuit, and iced tea for just $5.99. That's right, just $5.99 for limited time at participating Bojangles. What are you waiting for? When you're hungry, it's always Bo time.
Reason number 52 to choose Diamonds Direct over any other jeweler. Only Diamonds Direct gives you a 110% diamond upgrade guarantee. Let us explain. If you buy a diamond at Diamonds Direct today and decide in the future you want to upgrade to a larger diamond, Diamonds Direct will give you 110% of your original purchase price toward the new stone. For example, let's say you bought her a $5,000 diamond last year, but now she wants to upgrade to a $6,000 diamond. Diamonds Direct will give you $5,500 toward the new one. That's 10% more than you paid the first time. Guaranteed appreciation. Whether that first diamond was $3,000 or $30,000, you get 10% more. Who else does this? And unlike other stores who claim to offer diamond upgrades, at Diamonds Direct, there's no fine print and no minimum purchase requirement. It's 10% more, period. Come and discover real value and buy with confidence. Official jeweler of the Carolina Hurricanes and proud sponsor of NC State Athletics and proud to call the Triangle home. Diamonds Direct. Your love, our passion.
Easy Cater. It's all the food for your workplace, all in one place. With over 100,000 restaurants nationwide on one platform. Whether you need food for company meetings or events, daily employee lunches, or your next lunch and learn, Easy Cater makes food for work, work. And it doesn't stop at lunch. With Easy Cater, you've got great breakfast options, snacks, treats, and more. Whenever and wherever work happens, Easy Cater's here to make the food happen. Order now at easycater.com.
This is Adam Gold.
Did you see what Duke is paying the quarterback that they pulled out of the portal from Tulane?
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. 2-year deal, $4 million per.
Oh, wow.
Per. So.
Do they want a quarterback named Victoria?
The Adam Gold Show.
It's the Adam Gold Show. I am Adam Gold. At the beginning of the season, I think it would have been fair to think about, man, Duke hosting Miami. That could be, we know Duke was going to be good. They have the personnel to be really good. But, man, Miami's always good, and they're usually a thorn in Duke's side. That could be one of those games to see. I'm not sure. Duke is a 24.5-point favorite over the 4-12 Miami Hurricanes, who are ranked, I mean, I didn't look at it today, but I think yesterday they were 223rd in the net ranking. I mean, woof. Anyway, Blue Devils will have to pick up a good quad 4 win today. Rod Baxley covers basketball, covers Duke, Carolina, NC State for the Fayetteville Observer, and he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. All right, Mr. Baxley, paint this picture for us. How does this one excite tonight?
That's a tough one, Adam. I mean, the Cooper Flag coming off the 42 points will bring a few more eyeballs.
Sure.
Because people will want to see what he has for an encore. But if you're looking for a close game, I would not expect that. I think Duke will cover. One thing that is interesting, though, Duke has not reached 90 points since the second game of the season when they put 100 on Army. So I think tonight they will finally get to that mark for the first time since that second game.
Is Miami – I mean, I know Miami's bad, and Jim Larinaga decided he was done coaching in the middle of this season back in December, and we can have – that's a different discussion for another time. But is Miami that bad?
They are defensively, Adam. I think last time I looked on KenPom, they were 308th in defensive efficiency, which is not only worse than the ACC, but worse among Power 4 teams. So, we should see a lot of points from the Blue Devils tonight.
Wow. All right. Well, so we're like So I shouldn't take Miami plus the 24.5. I mean, we could see an extended time. No, no Malik Brown. So maybe Duke's interior defense won't be good.
Yeah, I think they'll be able to piece things together. Obviously, losing Malik is a big loss looking at the long-term future of this team. But as far as looking at Miami, I don't think it'll be a big issue tonight against the Canes.
All right,
with what Milowach has provided for them of late.
Yeah, he has been great, and we have also there's this Patrick Ngongba guy, and Duke can play. They can play a little small and be fine. Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer is here on the Adam Gold Show. I have likened what Duke is doing is going to be about this year to really what Gonzaga has had to deal with over the last, say, 20 years being in the West Coast Conference. And not quite to this extent, although maybe, because it all depends on how good you think Pitt, Clemson, and to a certain extent North Carolina are. I think Pitt and Clemson are the two next best. Carolina would be probably the next one after that. But so I don't know how it compares to Gonzaga, St. Mary's. But I think it's a pretty similar situation for the Blue Devils in that they could get soft is probably not the right word, but this schedule, this league might not get them ready for what's next.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it a little bit, Adam. There were times when the ACC had 7 top 25 teams.
Yeah.
And now we have a tough time keeping 7 inside the top 100. It's ridiculous. I do think the league is still provides more opportunity for losses than the West Coast Conference, obviously. But when you look at the schedule, it's not inconceivable to think Duke can run the table the rest of the way.
Do you think that, I still think the North Carolina games, the UNC games, are just a separate animal that I'm just going to set aside. I think I joked with you when we were setting up a time to do this that, to me, I don't think Duke's going to lose a game unless they want to.
Yeah, they're really going to have to play down. I do look at the one game a lot of people aren't talking about. Obviously, we know because we're in the state. But that trip to Wake Forest always seems to trip up the Blue Devils. So that a week from Saturday after they go to Boston College for that thriller, we'll get Blue Devils Demon Deacons next weekend. So that's another possibility for a loss on Duke's schedule. But you're right. Yeah, the North Carolina games in conference, you never know what's going to happen in those. That is probably their best chance for a loss, along with the trip to Clemson that could trip them up.
All right, give me before I want to ask you about UNC and State real quick, but before I do that, give me the one area you think Duke needs to have the most attention for them in terms of improvement.
Yeah, the one thing I'm really looking at, and it's a player, is Caleb Foster. I mean, he's been scoreless. He's kind of in the desert right now. He's been scoreless the last 2 games, first time in his career, and you can tell he's kind of lost at this moment, but they're going to need him moving forward. They're going to need him to provide some stability off the bench with what he's been able to provide at times. So when we're talking and nitpicking Duke, I think Caleb Foster is the biggest area for them to see improvement. He's just got to find his way back to neutral, so to speak, for them.
Yeah, you've got, and right now there are essentially 4 players for those 2 spots, right? With Zion James in the starting lineup and Tyrese Proctor is having a great year. You've got Foster, and Isaiah Evans has become part of this mix as well. Evans is probably 4th, but, I mean, there aren't many players other than Cooper Flagg who have a win to their credit, and Isaiah Evans beat Auburn all the way back. I guess it was in November. All right, let me get to North Carolina because I asked our friend Adam Smith from Inside Carolina about this earlier. This 3-game winning streak for UNC, is it a mirage or is it a team? I guess they should have lost the Notre Dame game. I know they were ahead, but that was an own goal for Notre Dame. NC State, I mean, look, that's a good win, I think, for them because I don't think UNC is great. But how do you look at where UNC is now at 4-1?
Yeah, look, those wins, these last 3 wins, aren't going to help Carolina get into the NCAA tournament, but they're not going to keep them out of the tournament either. So you have to win the games on your schedule. They showed earlier in the year that an inability to finish games. Granted, it was against much better competition, but they did finish against Notre Dame and NC State. And the biggest development for them of late has been Jalen Washington becoming the player I guess Hubert Davis and the coaching staff thought he would be entering this year. So if he can hover around double-double numbers for him, he doesn't need to average double-double, obviously. But if he can, give him 7 points, 6 boards, a couple of blocks, that completely changes the course of Carolina. But they're going to have to show up in the big games toward the end of the month into mid-February.
All right, final thing, and the Wolfpack, when they beat Notre Dame, I was just impressed, but they looked like they had a lot of ways to beat you without having one guy. They still don't, and they won't have. We haven't seen Mike James. I don't know if we're going to see Mike James. Theoretically, he would be the guy, but we're not going to see that guy, at least for an extended period. What are your thoughts on where the Wolfpack are? Because I was disappointed even though Marcus Hill nearly brought them all the way back, and they did have a lead. They kind of just acquiesced at the end. Where are you on the Wolfpack this year right now?
Yeah, the defense is a lot better, but, man, are they missing DJ Horn. I mean, you saw it down the stretch. Yeah. Marcus Hill had a wide-open 3 there at the end, and he wanted no part of pulling that. Whereas DJ Horn last year, he could have 3 guys on him, and he's going to take a step back 3 and maybe hit it. They just simply don't have that guy on this roster who can go get you a bucket when you need it. Hill was that against Carolina, but Carolina's got the smaller front court than what you're going to see in State's biggest games the rest of the year. So the Wolfpack, as bad as it sounds, they're going to be playing in March, as they were last year, hoping for some magic in Charlotte as far as trying to get to the tournament again.
Rod Baxley, at Rod Baxley, 2 Ds for defense,
yes,
I'm assuming,
yes,
on Twitter. Thank you so much, man. Enjoy what will likely be a blowout tonight, but we'll be checking in again, sir. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks, Adam. A lot of coffee tonight, man. That's the key.
Yeah, I do that anyway. All right. I appreciate it, man. We'll check in again. Rod Baxley from the Fayetteville Observer here on the Adam Gold Show. When we come back, I know a guy who had an assist last night in the Canes alumni loss to the Ice Pack, and we will talk to him, Sean Hill, next.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, and the playoffs are here finally. And now all customers can get a no-sweat NFL same-game parlay for any game. Just place a 3-leg NFL same-game parlay. You will get bonus bets back if your bet does not win, so have some fun with it. Same-game parlay is the perfect way, the complement, if you will, to the NFL playoffs. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel.com/AGS. FanDuel is an official sports betting partner of the NFL and your ticket to more fun during the playoffs. FanDuel. 21 and over and present in North Carolina. Opt-in required. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max wager $5 unless otherwise specified. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 877-718-5543 or visit morethanagame.nc.gov.
Did you know that since you have public power, your electricity is operated and controlled by people in your community, not by a for-profit investor-owned company? These local folks are directly accountable to you. They don't answer to shareholders. They make decisions for the good of your community. What's more, your public power provider invests in your community, providing jobs and supporting your local economy. Local people working together to meet local needs. That's public power. Learn more at electricities.com.
It's okay not to be okay. Feelings of loneliness, anger, and worry are completely normal, and you're not alone. If you need help coping, call, text, or chat the free 988 Suicide and Crisis Lifeline. Someone is always there to talk, day or night. Together, we will find the care that works for you. Just call, text, or chat 988 anytime to talk to a trained counselor who will listen, provide support, and connect you to other resources that can help. Let's get through it together. Brought to you by the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services.
As fall championships begin, the Governor's Highway Safety Program would like to remind you to buckle your seatbelt when traveling home from today's events. Whether you're driving out of town or across town this holiday season, wearing a seatbelt is your best defense against injury or death in a crash. During the busiest time of travel, prioritize your safety and buckle up. Every seat, every time. And remember, click it or ticket. It's the law. This message brought to you by the North Carolina High School Athletic Association and the Governor's Highway Safety Program.
It's that time of year when we gear up to cheer on our favorite team. Don't let COVID-19 and the flu stop you. So make sure you don't have to cancel on the team you love the most by getting your flu and COVID vaccines. They are safe and effective. Both flu and COVID vaccines have been updated to fight against new virus strains spreading this fall and winter. So make sure you don't miss the big game and you protect those around you. Ask your healthcare provider about updated flu and COVID-19 shots.
Visit myspot.nc.gov and find yours today.
AARP is working hard to make sure people in North Carolina are getting the most out of life. Whether it's helping you stay healthy, save more money, care for loved ones, or simply have some fun, AARP is making a difference in communities across the state. You have a wise friend and fierce defender with AARP. Learn more about progress being made for older adults in the state by listening to AARP Without Limits. You can find the latest episodes of AARP Without Limits wherever you listen to your podcasts.
The North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services is looking for people age 21 or older to volunteer in long-term care facilities. Community Advisory Committee volunteers help residents and their families advocate for the needs of individuals living in long-term care facilities, such as nursing homes, assisted living facilities, and family care homes. Volunteers must complete orientation and training to become designated and certified representatives of the Long-Term Care Ombudsman Program. Visit ncdhhs.gov/aging to find your county's ombudsman.
This is Adam Gold.
Yeah, but he's real patient, like he said in his interview today.
In all other aspects of life.
Yes.
If he's in line at the drive-thru and it's taking a long time, he will not ram the car in front of him.
Exactly. Someone's pressing his shirt. He will wait 30 seconds for it to be crisper.
The Adam Gold Show.
Sean Hill had an assist last night. It was on Brett Hedekin's goal. What a blast from the past, former teammates. And he joins us on the Adam Gold Show. The NC State Ice Pack defeated the Hurricanes alumni 7-6. Is that good defense or is that bad defense? I think 7-6 probably is good defense.
Yeah, I mean, you can look at it both ways. You know, it was a good amount of goals, that's for sure. But I've been in some other alumni games, other places, and there was definitely more scoring than that. So, you know, it was enough that it was definitely entertaining, and I'm sure there definitely was. Definitely some bad defense, particularly by myself and Hetty. After the second intermission, I looked over at Hetty and I said, "Man, I always wonder why they never put us together, and now I know."
Oh, come on. So, first of all, I want to thank you very much for doing this. How much fun was that last night? Not only because a lot of times these alumni games, there's fans involved, and that's a different story. But, man, you had a lot of guys who played a lot of big games with each other on the ice last night.
Yeah, it was a blast. You know, when I was getting ready before the game, I was sitting in there and just kind of looked around at all the guys and all the personalities and, you know, thinking how successful all of them have been. And it is a pretty cool feeling. You know, you go from not playing in so long and being a super fan for the team now. And then you kind of get in there and you see all those guys and you're like, man, these guys, a lot of experience, a lot of success, and a lot of Stanley Cups. So it's definitely fun. Great to be with the guys.
How many did you and Commodore both wear number 22?
It's kind of funny. We did. You know, I was thinking about that. I'm like, you know, if only one can wear it, Tommy's going to get it. He won the Stanley Cup in it, so that'd be the reason why I'd slide it to him. But they're gracious enough to let us both wear it. And it was kind of funny because Tim Gleason and Brett Hedekin were both wearing 6s too. So There wasn't too many different numbers on the decor last night, but we made it work.
Down the road, when Brett Pesce comes back to play an alumni game, maybe everybody will wear number 22, just like everybody warmed up in a number 12 before the game against Anaheim on Sunday. Being in the building, and I don't believe you ever. You might. Were you on the? I don't know that you were on 0304, but if you were, so as a brief teammate of Eric's, what was it like to see that outpouring of all the players that came back from points wherever, and the first homegrown Hurricane star to have his number go up?
Yeah, it was special. I did get to play with him.
That's right, that 1 year.
That 1 year, yeah, and to see his growth that year from the time when he came in training camp and just how he progressed through the season was amazing. And then we had the lockout, obviously, and then after the lockout, he just exploded and, had I don't know if it was 80, 90 point season and, was the leading scorer on the team and led him to the cup. And I mean, just an amazing story. And, he got the turnout he deserved. I mean, it was, don't get me wrong, it was amazing. And exactly what you would expect from the Carolina fans with the way this fan base has grown. And it just really makes you proud to be a part of it when you see the numbers come out like that, the amount of people that were there, hours before the game was even starting, and just the roars from them and stuff. It was special, that's for sure.
Sean Hill is joining us here on the Adam Gold Show. He had a point. He had an assist on Brett Hedekin's goal. We have not been afforded anything in terms of plus-minus time on ice. I know there was only one penalty called. Eric Stahl committed the penalty, which I don't know if that's fitting or not, but I'm glad he also scored a goal, so he got his name on the score sheet twice. How much, not trash talk, because I heard it was a relatively polite game between the Hurricanes alumni and NC State's club team, but how much chirping was there from on your own bench to your own players?
Oh, there way more than there was between the two teams, that's for sure. The guys that we have on that bench, Ray Whitney, he's an unbelievable hockey player, but he's got even quicker wit. Mike Commodore, unbelievable. Just riding guys left and right, and but definitely a lot more chirping going on within our bench, and on the ice towards our own players, not much towards the other team, but. They got a nice team. I think. Obviously, club hockey is not what it used to be. It's a good product, and they have a lot of talented kids. So it was fun for us to play against them. And you know what? You got to give them credit. They put the pedal down at the end, and unfortunately, we didn't have anything to say about it.
How much gas was left in the tank across your bench?
I think we might want to look into playing two halves maybe the next time we play, or something along those lines. But we were kind of hoping at the end there. They called the penalty on us, and then we pulled the goalie and had the goalie out, and the puck a rebound went up in the air, and one of our kids, accidentally obviously swung a stick to hit the puck and hit Gleason right across the top of the eyebrow. So we were kind of thinking maybe that we would get a penalty shot.
Wow.
Thinking maybe Stalzy would get to go down and do his thing, but probably under review. I don't know. We'll see. But we're talking in the locker room. How are we going to spin this, guys? We need to get something out to the media ahead of this and make sure it's dealt with. But the guys that were leaving town, they thought it was no big deal. The guys that live here, we got to eat it for a while.
We can't have overtime. You can't have overtime in an alumni game. 7-6 final score. I know our current head coach, Rod Brindamore, scored a very nice goal coming left to right. We saw the video on social media, left to right, tucked it behind the goaltender. Did Carolina solve their second center problems?
Man, I don't know. He might be a little long in the tooth, but for short periods of time, he can obviously still do it. Probably a even more impressive play. They called a face-off play in and it went out and around, and then Roddy came through the middle, and somebody hit him for a tip that almost went in. That was, I mean, stuff doesn't happen like that when you draw it up with a bunch of guys like us, maybe with the real guys, but that's probably even more impressive. But just great to have Roddy be around us and see the old guys and hang out a little bit. And, you know, just like he was back then, he's still our leader.
Yeah, he is amazing. I know there was some question as to whether or not he said he was a game time decision. He was always going to play, I'm sure. How did Cam Ward do on defense?
He did a nice job. Especially for, I mean, those kids are fast, you know. Yeah, so he made some nice plays. He plays, you know, he plays out all the time when we do our alumni skates. So he's really good at slowing the game down. And he actually has some pretty soft hands. I know his move that he usually tries, and it still beats me about half the time. So I got to give him credit. He handles himself pretty well out there.
Sean Hill, thank you very much for the time. We got to talk this version of the Hurricanes very soon. The Jersey Mike's in Lewisburg and on Wade Avenue. Do you have a favorite menu number? What's your number on the menu?
Gosh, I like to go with the number 13, but I can only have that about once a month. There's a lot of meat on that thing, you know.
Are you on dietary restrictions? I'm a number 9 guy. Are you on dietary restrictions?
I do love a number 9. I'm going to start being on dietary restrictions starting today.
Well,
the portobello mushroom is a good one.
I like the portobello mushroom.
Yeah, really good. That's kind of been my favorite lately. And going forward with having, like you said, dietary restrictions, I think that one's probably going to be in my wheelhouse a lot more often.
All right, go check them out. Lewisburg and Wade Avenue in Raleigh. I appreciate your time, sir. We will check in again very soon.
Thanks, Adam. Always good to chat with you. Appreciate it.
Sean's great, man. Sean, I didn't know he was on dietary. Look, it was a big weekend for a lot of these guys.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They may not feel it today, but they'll probably feel it tomorrow.
Yeah, it's usually delayed.
Yeah.
Usually some of these guys, though, do skate on a regular basis. Sean,
I know.
Sean obviously skates.
When he said he did it like once a week, I thought, that's a lot more frequent than I thought.
Exactly. 100% in agreement
multiple number 13s doing that.
The menu online, by the way, didn't go beyond 12, so I don't even know what 13 is.
Well, the 13's a different one.
Yeah, it's lucky.
Oh, okay.
Before we get to a rewind, real quick, I didn't watch week 1. I said I wouldn't. I'm not interested. That TGL, that golf league with Tiger Woods and Rory McIlroy as essentially the guys behind it. The second match is tonight, and it's made for television. It's housed in an indoor arena in Orlando. I think it's Orlando. It might be in the Palm Beach area because that's where Tiger lives, and I think Rory's in the same general area as that. Anyway, and it looks amazing, but I'm just not really all that interested in watching it. Regardless, the second set of matches is tonight. I said last week that I wouldn't be interested in watching it, and I'm not. But I am alone. It outrated, this was a Tuesday night, it outrated the PGA Tour event the previous week.
Interesting.
Okay? So the previous week was something called the Century, which is their season opening event. And it's got only winners, and there are other ways you can qualify for it, I think. But essentially, it's winners from the previous year. So there's a lot of big names. Hideki Matsuyama, former Masters champion. He was part of the field. He won it. But there were big names out there in it. And the first iteration, the first matches of this event brought in almost 1 million people to watch fake golf.
Wow.
Yeah.
That would not have guessed. I do like Holy Moly. I mean, I've seen
but
that
it's
in the
not
past,
Holy Moly,
but it's
unfortunately.
Not the same.
It's not putt-putt.
People are not basically almost trying to kill themselves on big spinny wheel things or whatever.
It is. Are you familiar with Topgolf, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so it's not quite that, but take a golf simulator, right? And it's a golf simulator, but then they add in more realism. So you actually play holes through a simulator. Now, apparently it's 18 holes. That takes way too long.
Yeah, it's a lot.
Even in an arena setting, it takes too long. They probably should shorten the matches to 9 holes. But I ain't watching, so if you want to watch for 18 holes, that's fine. But Tiger Woods' team, the Jupiter Lynx, plays Max Homa's team today, LA Golf Club. And I don't know. Look, again, not something I'm all that jacked up about, but it is Tiger Woods swinging a golf club. So if you want to watch Tiger Woods swing a golf club, even in a golf simulator, for about 2 hours, 3 hours, have at it tonight.
Wow.
I'm not even sure what time it starts.
Well,
But
you don't
it's
plan
tonight.
on watching it, but
No, I
other
don't.
people will.
I'll be watching the Duke basketball game.
Yes.
Actually, I won't. We have soccer training.
Oh, okay. Well,
I'll
never
watch
mind.
I'll watch the Duke basketball game when I get back from that. I will not watch fake golf.
Right.
But I was blown away. It almost doubled PGA Tour ratings. One more thing about golf before we get to a bit of a rewind. And we'll talk about Bill Belichick here in the rewind. So with the PGA Tour season started, we're coming up on the third official event of the PGA Tour season. We're starting to hear more, and I love the PGA Tour, but this is the part of this story that I'm just kind of tired of. So there is a player named Eugenio, I want to get his name correct, Shakara. And he was a player at Oklahoma State, one of the top amateurs in the world, originally from Spain. And rather than turn pro, and he could have probably turned pro and gotten a ton of sponsors exemptions and probably stuck it out on the PGA Tour, he signed a contract with Live Golf for 3 years that ultimately paid him $16 million. Now, the chances of him earning $16 million in his first 3 years of professional golf on the PGA Tour, probably very small. But it apparently for Shakara came with a price. Because when that 3-year contract is up and he hasn't played well enough to warrant a spot, maintaining a spot on Live, he now has nowhere to play. Because he's not a member of the European Tour. He's not a member of the PGA Tour. In fact, he's suspended from both. He now is going to play on the Asian Tour to try to make his way back into the top level of professional golf. And he won. He won an event on Live. And he's a really good player. The problem for him, and he said this in a quote, in that he looks at players like Ludwig Oberg, who also played college golf at Texas Tech, and used that to springboard to the PGA Tour, and is now one of the top 10 players in the world, and arguably a global star in the sport. Shakara says, I'm just as good as him. And he may be. I don't know that he is or isn't, but he may be. And the world golf rankings really don't matter in this case because they achieve no rankings points on Live. The sad part is that he should have known this at the beginning, but because of the way Live operated, they were told that don't worry about it, we're all going to get rankings points. And I said this 2 years ago, you're not. The global world of golf is not interested in bending over backwards so Live could get rankings points. It was never going to happen. What they were hoping for, what John Rahm was hoping for when he left, was that his leaving would pave the way for a merger back for Live players to play on the PGA Tour. I don't know that that's going to happen anytime soon. And right now, Shakara has no place to play. The PGA Tour players are very uninterested in allowing those players. Like he has no contract with Live. He doesn't belong to them anymore. he could play PGA Tour events. The current players are not happy. They don't want any of those players to come back without paying a price. And that goes for Brooks Koepka or Bryson DeChambeau or Dustin Johnson or players like that. Right or wrong? I disagree with that. I think at some point, let's let the guys who want to come back, let them come back. I get it. They made a lot of money. Yeah, nobody's crying poor for you guys either on the PGA Tour. But the professional golf world behind the scenes is pretty messy, and the on-course product isn't getting better, and that's a problem. All right, let's rewind. And I said this to Adam Smith of Inside Carolina. I said, the energy with Bill Belichick and UNC, I think, is real. Everybody's excited here. But there are still a lot of people who insist that he is going to go back to the NFL now. And I asked him how he has dealt with all of that.
Buckling up and holding on tight in terms of negotiating the experience, to answer your question. Well, it was a little more, just in terms of the work on our plate, it was a little more relieving to see Michael Lombardi say, I guess through Twitter, that the most recent report was total fabrication. They like to use that word, total fabrication, that phrase. I will point out to you that obviously, I'm sure this has been much discussed on your airwaves and many, that if Bill Belichick was to leave UNC right now, the buyout would be $10 million.
Right.
Now it does drop to $1 million in the summertime before he even coaches a football game at the University of North Carolina. Been trying to figure out why that was worked into the contract the way it was, but still working on that. But yeah, I mean, it's. I think there are some people that are a little antsy, even just from the fact that, they sort of haven't announced these hires. Like we're doing our damnedest over here to nail these guys. They just hired a defensive backs coach. We just got that story up this morning. My guy Jeremiah Holloway working hard on that one. So it's been an interesting. Well, how far do you want me to go back, AG?
You can go back as far as you want, man.
Since the UNC baseball team made the run to Omaha?
Sure. Why not? We can go back to the Bill Guthridge era. R.I.P. R.I.P. to one of the great people.
Absolutely. Coach Gutt. But, yeah, it's been the last several months from the end of MAC to I'm sitting here in my home office where I was holding on for dear life several days there when it looked like Belichick was going to be the hire. And, not to make it about me, but when your job is to break the news for UNC, if something happens, whether they hire Adam Gold or Bill Belichick, and you got people like Adam Schefter lurking around in the waters out there, it's terrifying. So it has certainly been interesting. And I will say that, as a guy who covers this team, I am extremely intrigued about how this all might shake out if they get it set up the way they want to get it set up. Because after you get past the immediate reaction of being like, no way would he go to college, and you hear about what their plan is, as I know you've been over.
Yeah.
You start to think, well, why wouldn't it work if they're going to invest the way they're going to invest? I mean, they've got 5 times more NIL money to play with than Mac Brown's regime had.
Yeah.
So if they're going to set it up this way with the front office side and then the player development side, and tell people, you know what, we'll get you ready for the NFL. If you want to go to the NFL, come here.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be interested to see how it works in the state, with the state of ACC football the way it is.
Yeah. First of all, 2 things. One, this will be the story in college football this year. The number 1 story in college football this year will be Bill Belichick and the University of North Carolina. The second part of the story is the ACC ripe for UNC to succeed because it isn't going to beat you over the head every week? The opportunity for this to really work and look better than it probably should presents itself in this league. Victoria, thank you very much. See everybody tomorrow.
Serving it up hot and fresh every day. Adam Gold on the North Carolina Sports Network.
Hey, it's Adam Gold from my friends at FanDuel, America's #1 sports book. And you know what makes the NFL playoffs better? That's right. FanDuel makes the NFL playoffs better. And right now, new customers bet $5, get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. You don't even have to win. So if you're like me and you never win, you can get